And it says we are live, so we are live. It is Saturday night, it has just gone 8 o'clock, it is time for some Doctor Who. Hurrah! And tonight, obviously, we are going to be doing the William Hartnell story, Edge of Destruction. Joining me, of course, is Chris. Say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
And joining us as well is Lucosa. Say
Good
hello,
evening.
Lucosa.
I'm going to resist that, so yeah, good evening.
Yeah, we are doing. We're going to be going right the way back. We're going to be doing the William Hartnell story, Edge of Destruction, and we're going to be following this through. Um, but before we do, I'm going to raise an argument over something that I want. I just want to point it out because I find articulating it in text and articulating it online is not the same as doing it in person. So I wanna just point something out to some people. A couple of days ago, I got into a bit of an argument over this whole timeless child debacle, right? That people are making convoluted excuses for bad writing. Okay, they're coming up with these stupid explanations as to how these things make sense, which they don't.
No,
And they keep coming up with them over and over and over. Like, wouldn't it be better if the Master was the timeless child? No! Ruining the Master story is no better than ruining the Doctor story. It just isn't. In fact, doing it to the Master makes even less sense because the whole point of the character is his need to survive because he can't regenerate. That's the whole bloody point of the character. So no, it doesn't. But then somebody pointed out this whole thing with the Ruth Doctor, okay? And they said, well, maybe the chameleon circuit has been broken all along, and it's always been a police box. Okay, right. I don't know where to start with this, but first of all, we have seen the actual episode whereby the Doctor and Susan steal the TARDIS. We've actually seen the episode. We've seen it. Okay, it looked like a toilet roll tube, a silver toilet roll tube. Right, that's number one. Number two, if you aren't aware, I might know something a little bit about Doctor Who. And something that had left my mind, but I'm going to reiterate straight away. So it doesn't go any further. The Doctor would have known that the TARDIS, the chameleon circuit, was working when he left Gallifrey because there is a story that happens before An Unearthly Child, and it takes place in the episode The Sensorites. In The Sensorites, the Doctor is talking to Ian and Barbara about an adventure him and Susan had when they landed and met Henry the Bloody Eighth. He knew the TARDIS was not a bloody police box. So all these people that are coming up with these stupid theories, stop it. Stop it now. You're making excuses for bad writing, and I'm not going to tolerate it. There. That's what I've got to say about that.
I can think of another example that backs up your claim about this whole chameleon circuit and the TARDIS always being a police box, being absolute cobblers.
Yep.
In the first story, in An Unearthly Child, when they go back in time, and William Hartnell is saying, "Why is it still a police box?
Yeah.
That's wrong."
Yeah, so their argument was that it had always been a police box. He had just had his memory wiped by the time.
Oh, how convenient!
But the fact of the matter is that's what they said was the Time Lords had wiped their mind. So I took that argument on board actually, and that's when I mentioned the whole Henry VIII bit because he's talking clearly to Ian and Barbara about this adventure that him and Susan had before they met Ian and Barbara. That they'd been travelling and bouncing around through time before they got to 1963. So the chameleon circuit had been working. So, it's just, again, people... this whole thing with the Timeless Child has kicked up so much dirt and stink in the air that people are trying to make excuses around it in their own head canon to try to solve this Rubik's Cube. And I'm saying, chuck it in the bin, it's not worth solving.
Yeah, that's the best solution by far.
It is the best
It's
solution, although I am quite worried that's not going to happen.
no, but and then people. Here's the thing, right? As well is that people are saying about things like about it wasn't written into canon. This wasn't written into canon. That's not canon. The Doctor was originally human. No, he wasn't. The Doctor has never been human ever. It's in the Bible of the bloody show. He was never human. And do you want? We're about to watch an episode whereby I think it's this episode whereby there's actually proof that it was always intended that way. Because I believe in this episode the Doctor actually talks about going back to his own planet. Now I can't help thinking that if you're not from Earth, you must be an alien. What do you guys think about this nonsense?
Well, with the alien thing, just because you're human shaped in appearance doesn't mean you have to come from Earth in science fiction. I mean, Luke Skywalker looks pretty human. He's an alien
Yeah.
to the planet Earth. I'll try not to use the B word that ends with Ollocks because that's what it is. It's absolute codswallop. There you go. There's a word I didn't expect to be saying tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. Lucosa, you got any opinions on this nonsense?
I have plenty of opinions, but on a family-friendly channel, I can't say a single one of them. But yeah, utter crap.
The thing is, as well, right? These people come up and they talk about they raise these faux pas sound bites. Somebody has said a sound bite that sounded clever to them at some point, and they keep reiterating it because it's like, oh, the show is always about change. Who told you that? If the show's always about change, how come the TARDIS is always the same? If the show's always about change, how come the Doctor doesn't change? He changes persons, actors, but the Doctor's personality is the same. He's always going around doing the right thing, moralistically speaking. The Doctor's never regenerated into a total utter bastard and tried conquering the universe. I mean, these sound bites that people shoot out about it being metaphors for humanity and all this nonsense and garbage. It's a science fiction show about people wandering through time. That's what it's about. All the other stuff that have been latched onto this is all nonsense. It's garbage. They tried to make something that was a little bit entertaining to fill in between bloody, what was it? Grandstand and jukebox jury. That's what this show was. Let's pull all the crap off this and get right down to the core. They were trying to make a cheap little show in between two shows on the BBC just to entertain people for a bit. That's what it was. All this stuff that people have latched onto this about it being a show all about change, all about moving on, all about not rubbish. Rubbish. William Hartnell didn't want to change.
Well, I was going to say if that was the case and they had approached William Hartnell and said this is a show all about change, I suspect William Hartnell's reply would probably not be one that I would be able to repeat.
No, it's just the fact that change happens. But you show me a show where change doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what these people are on about. These people are talking about their ass. And when we're talking about a cheap show here, we're about to watch Edge of Destruction. Edge of Destruction is the epitome of cheap shows. This is the definition, the technical definition of a bottle episode.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've only got to look at the cast list. Let me read it out.
The
cast list. Yeah. William Hartnell, William Russell, Jacqueline Hill, Carol Ann Ford. Done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The TARDIS crew.
It's people forget, like, this all the stuff. I think I said this to you before about when we were talking to you about Batman. I think about how fans have added so much bravado and so much of their own feelings towards a character onto the character that it's nice to go back and see these originals because it's all stripped away. That it's none of that stuff has been added. If the fans had their way, the Doctor would walk in and he'd have all his costumes in glass cases. you know, and they were all under spotlights, and it's just it's so annoying. The fandom, it does more damage, I think, to the show. This is why I don't mind when somebody who's not a fan of the show comes to write there, because they're not bringing any weight or hang-ups or anything with them. You know, it's great when sometimes you get this odd writer that pops in and just wants to write a science fiction show that then gets fleshed out into a Doctor Who story. You know, and I mean, funnily enough, having said that, the guy who writes the next episode, Marco Polo, clearly wasn't a Doctor Who fan. He'd never seen the show and was asked to write it because he was an expert in the story of Marco Polo. And it's one of the best Doctor Who stories. Again, it's a shame now that it's missing. But it is, you can get it on the, what do they call, telesnaps. But it's a great Doctor Who story. You know, it's a fantastic Doctor Who story, and it's a shame that it is one of the missing ones.
It's one that needs to be animated.
Man, again, I don't understand why they don't remake it. I just don't get it. Well, let's be honest here, right? This is all being filmed at BBC Lime Grove, right? On the 4th floor, Studio D. That's where Doctor Who takes place. Studio D was 20 meters by 20 meters. That's the size of the studio, right? Half of the studio was taken up with the TARDIS set. That's how small. When they say Studio D was a shoebox, that's what we're talking about here. Literally half the studio was taken up with the TARDIS set, right? So anytime they did guest ships or anything like that, it was pretty much, you know, small. This episode here probably marks the end of the. This is probably the last time we see the full TARDIS set. After this, it's bits of wall, bits of set, bits of console, but we don't ever see it. This is the last big. The next time I think we see the console room like this is probably an Adventure in Space and Time. That's probably the next time we see it in this grandeur. We don't ever see it this big. We don't see this complete because this has all the back rooms as well. Whereas, like I think in Marco Polo, from what I remember, the TARDIS set is reduced due to the size of the studio. It's reduced down to the door walls and one side wall, so it's literally like a corner. You know, we've got the doors there and the corner of the set. And it doesn't recover from that because they need the studio space. And even when they move to Ealing, it doesn't really sort of... It becomes a three-sided set. Look at the Tom Baker era. It's literally... it's a very small space around the console. Mm. This is probably the last time. So when it comes to why don't they remake Marco Polo, imagine what you could do today in a space the size of 20 by 20 studio. You don't even need that. We've got digital equipment now. You can go out and film on location. Like they can literally, you can take a crew out and film. Like I suppose Marco Polo must be set going through Cathay in China and go through like the desert area and all that. Jesus, that would be so easy to do on location. You don't even need full size sets. You just need bits of set. You just need and I don't think anybody would complain that you've gone, oh yeah, well you've added that thing. I mean, this is how small the studio was. Right? Genuinely, this is how small the studio was at Lime Grove. In Marco Polo, they actually used a cardboard cutout of the TARDIS because the studio was too small to have the actual full-size prop there. That's genuine. They had a cardboard cutout standing in for the TARDIS because to have the full-size prop was too big. There wasn't enough room. You could literally see the mountains. Sometimes Karen Ann Ford is standing there with the mountains behind her and her shadow is going up the mountain. Like that's how she's literally. The mountains was probably as far from her as my bookshelf is from me, because it needed to be because they didn't have any more room. And it was and it's a shame because when you see the color photos of that set, it looks extraordinary. But so to me, why they don't remake that episode, I have no god idea. Given what the university did with Mission into the Unknown,
Yeah.
there's absolutely no, because nobody's expecting them to go. Oh, well, you did that episode. Well, use an Oscar. No, nobody's gonna say. We would just like to see it. And I don't think that anybody would be like if you said, "Here's the cast from An Adventure in Space and Time, and they're gonna get back together, and we're gonna do this adventure, and it's gonna be the Marco Polo story, all 7 episodes, but we're gonna do it as one big sort of thing." Nobody's gonna complain. And you put that sucker on Blu-ray, and I'll guarantee you it'll shift off the shelves.
Oh, yeah. A massive success.
Can you imagine? Here's the first Doctor story, redone, modern score as well, same script but modern score, and then just and you could fix any problems that you had with it. How much genuinely no, right? If Chris wanted to, you could turn that screen off there and put the Himalayas behind him.
I could.
Like
I'm
that
not,
simple.
I'm not going to, but I could.
No, but I mean it's that simple. Like I mean, how much of a
Well, I'll say,
task?
I'll show you how much of a task it is. If I do that and then do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, like we're talking about a level of technology that the BBC got their hands on, that they could actually just, again, partial sets, match lighting a little bit better.
Well, I'm
So
doing
on.
it with completely free software, aren't
And that's what I'm saying. I think it just bothers me that they don't do it. But yeah, so here we are with Edge of Destruction. Again, technically, it is the definition of what I would class as a bottle episode. It's between 2 stories. It's going from Skaro to China, and this is a necessity of an episode, by the way, because if you imagine what's happening behind the scenes, whereby they're dismantling the Skaro set, taking apart all the Daleks and everything and so on, and then while that's coming down, they've got another week then to get the Himalayas built. It's one hell of a task. So you can understand that this wasn't just a break for the writers as well. This was a break for give them time, I guess, to work on the sets to get everything where it needed to be. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say on that, really. I think that what we're going to see with this episode is that it's going to be a bit kooky. We're gonna have a bit of fun with this because some of the acting from Callan Ford is a bit like, do you know the woman in Airplane
Yeah.
who keeps getting slapped? The hysterical one.
Yeah.
That's principally her role in this. It's a funky little story that goes, do you know what? We don't have to leave the TARDIS, and we're gonna have a little bit of we're gonna have a moment where people are gonna be like distorted. Their thoughts are gonna be distorted, and they're gonna be in a state of confusion. And how are they gonna survive this? And it's it's good, but it could. I think if this was more than 2 episodes, it would have got really annoying really fast.
Yeah. 2 episodes was well paced. Yeah, it couldn't have been any longer than this.
No, this is what it was. This was filler, and the definition of filler. But it's a story about suspicion, paranoia. It's got all that in it. It's just. I think, given the constraints that they were working under, I think they managed to pull it off. I think they did. I don't know. We'll have to. We'll see. We'll talk more about this when after we've seen the episode. But I think that it definitely, for the restrictions I think this definitely worked for the needed. Um, that's pretty much all I'm going to say on that. Any ideas, Chris? Have you? When was the last time you saw Age of Destruction, if at all?
I think I have seen Edge of Destruction, but we're talking 16 years ago at the very earliest.
Yeah. Any recollections of this story?
Pretty much what you said. Carol Ann Ford being a bit of a space case.
She does go off. She does have a. Oh, I got you back. Ah, that's better. Ah, just scratch my back. There.
That'd be a problem having one of them up your shirt.
She does, but they're all a little bit spaced out in this. They do. It's not just the fact that she's a little bit. I think she lays it on heavier than everybody else.
I don't know if my memory serves me well. William Russell's got half a side of ham on there with him. There's a bit where he comes round.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit I remember, and he's by the side of the TARDIS console, and he puts his hands up to his head like that, and he's like, he's laying it on pretty thick. I mean, it is a sign of the times, really, because a lot of this was basically, it was like stage acting in front of a camera, weren't it?
I think what it was that they had, I'd say that they had a 30-minute episode to fill out, and then they ended up padding it for 2 weeks. And I think that there's a lot here. Like I think I had Waris Hussein directed this, it would have been a different episode. This is not one of the director on this is not what I would consider to be one of my favorites.
And it's a different director for each part as well, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's there's times where the camera's totally out of focus as well. I mean, there's times where it's like, why is the camera pointed up or down, pointing to the floor? I think there's a point here where you can see over the top of the set at times. So it's a little bit scruffy and messy. But again, I tried to give the Hartnell episodes a little bit more of a leeway because first of all they're dealing with the fact that they can only have a certain amount of edits per show. Like I think it's something like 8. I think they're allowed to have 8 edits in a show. So the rest of the time it's just being going from camera footage. It's done like a live stage show. Basically, they have a couple of days of rehearsal. They go to the studio, they record it, and then they're allowed to edit. You know, I think at the time it was 8 times. I think. So anytime people make mistakes, it's kind of and they can't really go back. And this is why I think it was good when they had really good directors in, because the really good directors would have been there in rehearsal and gone, don't do that. When it comes to the performance, don't do that. But at this point, it's kind of a case of I think the director was kind of picking up a paycheck. I don't think you're going to see anything revelatory in this. You're going to see. I don't know, Carol Ann Ford screaming at a white curtain. She does. I think like when she settles into it, I think she does actually do a pretty good zoned out performance of her being sort of like slightly out of her head. But I think the other part of this as well is it does a good job with William Hartnell, whereby he's not the Doctor we know yet. Like anyone who is watched new, who goes back to watch the William Hartnell stories, they kind of a bit like, what the hell is this? And it's because he's not Time Lord, Hero Man. He's very much like, I don't care. I want to escape to live, and I'm gonna kick you off the ship now. He's not what the Doctor becomes. But this is something that I like. I've got to be honest. What are you guys' thoughts on what we're about to see so far? Any thoughts on it?
I I think it's better than its reputation suggests. It has a bit of an impossible task. I mean, it's following up from the Daleks, and then it's got Marco Polo after it. So it's a story that tends to get completely forgotten, and it doesn't deserve it. No, it's not, the greatest, Doctor Who story there's ever been, but for what it is, I think it does it fairly well. What you were saying about the cameras being out of focus and all that, I always thought that was intentional, but it's not. Okay, because I always thought, well, the TARDIS is supposedly sort of out of control a bit, so I thought it was done to sort of stress that, but okay, no.
Had that been the case, that would have been genius. That would have been genius. As it was, the focus puller couldn't see Jacqueline Hill. That's the. By the way, this isn't recorded on film. By the way, because they're at Lyme Grove now, they've got past the whole transfer into film because it was costing a lot of money, and they shoot it on tape, so they're recording now. Studio cameras, Studio D, Lyme Grove, all the camera feeds straight to the video box. So this is a step down from where it started. You can tell when they shoot on film. Even when they shoot on black and white, it's like, wow, that's great. And this is not.
No, this is not.
The other thing I'll say about this episode, like Chris was saying, it's largely forgotten, but this is a really important episode because if memory serves me well, this is kind of like a bonding episode for the four characters, where they become more of a team, I suppose.
Sort of. I think they spend an awful lot of this one at each other's throats.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, to start with.
I think the Doctor does some nasty shit to Barbara. I think I don't know. I would say, like I would say the better episodes for bonding between the characters. I would have said Space Museum is a better bonding episode. Because it shows the characters really stepping into their own and really stepping up. I think Barbara does. I mean, I don't. This is one of the stories that makes me annoyed when they did Twice Upon a Time, because all the stuff that they threw to Twice Upon a Time about you're missing Polly because TARDIS is dirty and is dusty and all the bloody feminism stuff that they shoved into all the misogynistic shit that they handed the first Doctor. And I'm thinking to myself, Barbara would have never have put up with that.
No.
Not even slightly. And this is a good example of it. This is a really good example because Barbara's about to go ape shit on the Doctor. Like, it's going to be one that Barbara's like, you're a mean bastard. And I think William Russell's does it as well in this with his version of Ian as well. I think when he wants to, I think Ian's probably like one of the only characters the Doctor really starts to respect. I think the rest of the time the Doctor's quite frivolous and quite disrespectful to everybody.
Yeah.
And this is sort of him going, oh, okay, you humans are a little bit more than I was giving credit for. Yeah, but I mean, it does annoy me when I see that portrayal of the Doctor, because it's nothing like the guy I've seen on screen. I can remember Hartnell being stern. I can remember him being cruel. I can remember him being just a total git. But I've never seen him be that way with a misogynistic pig. I've never seen that. But there we are. He's not. If people got different things, but I don't think of him as a male chauvinistic bigot. I've never seen that in this version of the Doctor at all. I don't know where the hell they got that from. But anyway,
I get the feeling that oh, it was old. It was from the '60s, so it must be like that. Is the feeling I get from someone that didn't have a bloody clue on what the 1960s were really like. I mean,
Yeah.
or I don't because I wasn't there.
No,
But I know it's not how they portray it sometimes.
no. Right. So I'm gonna get ready to make a start on Edge of Destruction.
I am ready at all the zeros as usual.
I'm just gonna cue things up. BritBox, yay! Let me just go in, and I'm at 0. Oh, what's this doing? I got this little buffer in thing. Buffer in, buffer in, buffer in, buffer in. Oh, here we go. Right then, I'm gonna make a start. I'm gonna be pressing play in 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen these titles.
I think they're lovely.
Well, Doctor Oho.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're absolutely fab.
Yeah, they are.
And I'm glad when they done them for the 50th, that they just didn't change them. Didn't even try to colour them. Boom. So they just left Scarro. That's the current plot here, is that they've just escaped. Whitaker! Not that Whitaker.
Not the David Whittaker I'm used to either. Chris knows what I mean.
Yeah, to take a drink in this TARDIS set. It's probably the last time you'll see it like this, if memory serves. Interesting fact as well. Because William Hartnell kept getting Ian Chesterton's name wrong, they actually started writing it into the story that he could never remember his name. And it's actually a plot point in Marco Polo. You'd call him Chesterfield, Chesterton, Cheston. Jacqueline Hill got a hell of a pair of trousers on as well.
Yeah, with the faces she was putting, I wasn't expecting her to say yes terribly. I was expecting her to say there is no Dana, only Zool.
I love the lighting in this. It's slamming that sort of pattern lighting onto the floor from the computer banks and the fault locator behind. It's just shafts of lighting, look. I'm not keen on the painted wall behind, but we've got to live with it.
No, it's not brilliant, is it?
Again, we retrospectively looking at this, they couldn't make it any bigger. It was like I said, it occupied half the studio.
Yeah, I mean, those computer banks are on wheels over there.
I think that's the monitor. I think that cage there that you're seeing, I think that's the actual monitor for the console.
So yeah, I think you're right.
It's a hell of a costume choice, I've got to say.
That's just what you need for running around space, isn't it?
It probably is. Tight leather. Possibly PVC. So here's another point as well. Somebody said, "Oh yeah, Ian checks his heart, and he says he's only got one." No, he doesn't. He says his heart's all right, but he's slightly out of it, and he's only checking one side. Why would he check the other? He's never met a Time Lord before. He doesn't know he's got two. I mean, he doesn't even know where he is. I don't think his assessment that he's only got one, two hearts is any sort of form of validity.
It's quite amusing. Those two dials there, and it says milk underneath, but that's just my childish nature.
Yeah.
He's not going to save you, Chris.
No.
But if you can see phallic things in John Pertwee's era, I can see breast-shaped things in this
Oh,
era.
come on. Everyone could see phallic shape on that particular prop.
Well, I can't help it. I prefer boobs to willies.
It says here that this is the first Doctor Who story not to have needed an episode to be reshot or remade. I think it did. I think it did need it.
Yeah, it didn't get it, but it needed it.
Ignore the synchronicity of these doors, okay? Just ignore them. Just pretend they went together. You just can't get them right.
Gallifreyans, fragile.
Yeah, yeah.
It's nice to see William Hartnell wearing what could grow to be a potential future scarf. Yeah, this is the bit I was on about with Ian. What's going on here?
It's a strange plot point, yeah, because Susan feels it, he feels it, but there's no real sort of explanation as to why. I don't think we ever get a resolve. What do you think of Ian Chesterton's wardrobe then? Because it's
Well,
He-
is the arm supposed to be coming off the...
yeah.
Yeah, I think that was damage sustained in the
And Daleks.
the
In the
Daleks
Daleks.
episode.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got the continuity right there.
But I think like he's playing sort of. I guess he's playing a responsible school teacher. So
Well,
I
yeah,
think
he's
trying
wearing
to.
he's literally wearing his work clothes, isn't he? Because they followed Susan to the TARDIS and they got
Yeah,
in and then it sodded off.
yeah, but other people have had a costume change and he hasn't. I mean, it's not that bad of a bed. It looks quite cozy, in fact.
Looks like a sun lounger.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I got that with mine. There we go. Lovely. See, this is what I was talking about with Barbara. She's not willing to put up with this crap. I mean, it's good that they start putting in a bit more out there ideas. And she's had a change of wardrobe.
Well, I love 60s sci-fi sound effects. They're so honest and innocent. They just perfect sound.
Just warping all the time, yeah. She's sweating a bit.
She'll be all right now. She's got a new cold compress.
See, Barbara's all over it. Nothing gets past that. Nothing. Stay off the drugs.
There's definitely some good science fiction ideas going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
unfortunately,
the focus.
yeah, the ending. That's not a good science fiction idea.
No, she's
It is
Susan
throwing
Foreman, not clairvoyant at all. Sorry, carry on.
it is throwing some big ideas up, but it's like, unfortunately, the staging is very stagnant, and this is something I don't like from the director. Is because he's literally like, move the bloody camera. What about the actors? No, we'll just all stand still until the scene is over. Is anybody going to move? Oh, there we are. There's one. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't see over the top of the set there. Again, they're also referring to it. Quinnis there. The Fourth Universe is also another adventure they had before An Unearthly Child. Dun dun dun. Jesus, the focusedness is all over the place. Get in, Barbara. And this woman's going to put up with you women not to know your place? Bullshit.
Death by Meccano.
Now, everybody, sit back, relax, and have a glass of this non-suspicious water. Again, Hartnell's doctor here is nothing like what you would expect. See, he's operating. He's operating in some sort of shady area, isn't he? He's just sort
Yeah.
of this wanderer at this moment in time. He's not like this, or he has the answers.
No, he's quite a way off from being the Time Lord Victorious, isn't he?
Oh, quite a fair whack, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just end up pointing a sonic screwdriver at it and going, "Oh, look, it was this all along." I mean, he's just gone on and drugged everyone, including his granddaughter. He is a very shady character. But I think it's interesting because we're in at a moment whereby we are seeing him become the Doctor. What he will later do, yeah, and not just we're talking second, third Doctor. I mean, like what William Hartnell's character is going to become. He's going into this point whereby he's having these little adventures where he's wandering into stuff, and instead of just running away from them, he ends up confronting them. There we go. The end of the first one. The next episode, The Brink of Disaster. Thoughts?
That's an interesting one.
It throws up a lot of ideas, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
But as a producer, Verity Lambert, Yeah, this is why I think just that from that little moment, that exchange between Barbara and the Doctor, I think that I don't really need to say why I don't like. I think in that moment there was enough to say that's why I don't like the Twice Upon a Time first Doctor. Oh, here we go. Ping BritBox, presented by BBC and. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, because it just comes down to the fact that Barbara would have never have stood for that sort of nonsense.
Not at all.
It's just it's preposterous to me. Like it's, I think like had the first Doctor ever shown that sort of disrespect, he would have been instantly put down, just straight away. Like he would call people young lady or young man or something like that, but he wouldn't be like, you know. Now, what if William Russell had fainted? How would they have explained that in the story? Like, can you imagine trying to call the medics over? He's fainted. It's part of the script. It's not part of the script. He's fainted. It says so there. Very shiny studio floor there. Yeah, you would.
At least let him put a pair of strides on.
Yeah. All gone. See, look at the difference in the direction here. This camera's moving around all over the place. People are moving.
It's much livelier, isn't it?
It's so much better. See, it's not just cutting in, cutting out. These cameras are moving. much more dynamic. Focus. See, look at this. A single camera shot. It's swept around, pulled out, and now it's moved back in again.
Yeah. William
maybe
Arnold
you.
looks so much older than he was, didn't
Oh yeah.
he? About 57 there, isn't he?
He's.
I'm sure he
5,
was 6. I'm sure he was 67 when he died in
He was 67,
75.
yeah. He's 50 odd now.
So if this is 63, let's say he's 55 in this. I mean, he's only 5 years older than me, practically. I mean, I don't look, you know, I'm not a
Oh,
model
you're
by any
bigger.
stretch, but I mean,
Again, that's
David
a
Bradley.
lifetime of.
Yeah, I was gonna say David Bradley plays him perfectly, and David Bradley was in his 70s.
Yeah. You got. I mean, you got to remember one of you is wearing a wig there as well. But
Yeah.
he again, it was a lifetime of booze and smoking and not the healthiest of eating. The other part to remember as well that people haven't really talked about here is the fact that he was ill at this point.
Yeah.
He was suffering from what's it called? Oh, it's hardening of the arteries. I can't remember what it's called. Just, I'm just picturing the queue, people standing behind her. You're hysterical. quite a nice shot as well with the light coming up through the middle.
You noticed when they first put that bandage on his head, and they said, "Oh yeah, the dark
Yeah, the
stripes
feel, yeah.
disappear," and it has been gradually they've been
Yeah,
fading
yeah.
away.
Yeah. I know, it's one of the little things that most people wouldn't notice. I mean, he's gone through all the other stages of grief. He's now into acceptance. You're in a spaceship. Of course, there's nothing but space. It's where you are. Like the fact all the lights have gone out now. It's just this real single spot.
It's good sci-fi techno babble for the age, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Thing is, it's not actually techno babble. All of that is
Yes,
astrophysical. Yeah, it's
Yeah, true. I was just using the generic sci-fi term they use for that sort of thing.
There you go. It was a short circuit all the time. A short in the system. What do you think of this look at the set view with the computer banks behind?
I think it's great.
You simple hysterical girl.
She can understand advanced applied mathematics, but needs to be told how a spring works.
Yeah.
That infuriates me.
I'm guessing that's the bit you was moaning about yesterday.
Yes.
I think it's a good little moment here for the Doctor, I think. It's a slight tonal shift in the character.
Yeah. That's why it's an important episode. That's what I was on about with the bonding thing.
Again, another adventure that happens before an unearthly child.
Could that be the same coat Tom Baker wears in The Talons of Wen Chiang?
It could be. Next episode is The Roof of the World, otherwise known as Marco Polo.
Well, we can't watch that.
That's the end of that. There we go. Edge of Destruction, Brink of Disaster. Both episodes done, dusted. It's an interesting episode to talk about, I think.
Yeah, the fact that we spent most of that glued to it, not saying anything, goes to show how well written that was. Not necessarily direction in part one,
No.
but the actual writing of it. And I mean, all right, not all the lines were delivered, hit their mark really as they were supposed to, but the actual story itself was enough to keep three gobby gits quiet watching while we was watching the episode.
I think the second episode is better than the first one.
Yeah, much better.
Mainly due to the direction. The direction in the first. I think you could see. I think I know sometimes I'll point out something and say, "Oh, look at this, look at that," but I think you can clearly see the difference between the two. The direction. And the
yeah, well, episode one, the screen was like you said, static. It was like watching.
Yeah. It's not just the screen was static; the actors were static.
Yeah, it was like watching people doing statues but talking.
Yeah, and then you get to the second episode, and the camera's moving around and moving in and out, and the actors are interacting with it. They got Caroline Ford going over to the fault locator, and the camera's whipping around to William Russell, and you got it moves in, moves out, and it's just good. It's good. It's just it's the only letdown in this was the fact that they had to rewrite the end of the episode. To be honest with you, because the original script, the end of the episode was that the Doctor just keeps pressing, or he comes to the conclusion that he has to press the return button, and that's going to save them. Whereas in this, it was rewritten so that Barbara figures it out, and that was a big change. But the other part of this as well is that it's weird. They developing the character of the Doctor, the character of the Doctor before these episodes. It's kind of like he had a minimal interaction with humans before this, and so you look at it from an alien point of view, and people forget that the Doctor's an alien. So his interaction with humans is really restricted to Ian and Barbara, pretty much. He's had a couple of adventures before this whereby he's just pretty much run away, basically. And then he meets Ian and Barbara, and suddenly there's this whole notion of responsibility that is still. I mean, it's in and out of these stories. This is more of I would say this is more of him, the Doctor, surviving first. It's kind of he's still learning. He's still finding his feet, because it's even this story was basically about. Well, I think we might just survive this, and there's even a point whereby the Doctor's like, we're not, we're dead. that's what's happening next is we're dead, and yeah, he goes from that, and I think Ian and Barbara are such important characters to Doctor Who, so important. And it wouldn't bother me if they brought them back with different actors, even if they just brought back the actors from An Adventure in Space and Time, just to have another outing with them. Because I think Ian and Barbara are great characters.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this story, Lucosa?
It really is a story of two halves. At the end of part one, I'm sitting here thinking, I thought this was better than this. Part one, to be honest, I thought was
Static.
dreadful.
Yeah.
Oh, it was not good. Um, but yeah, part two is just so much better, it really comes to life.
Giving us a bottle episode as well.
Yeah,
It's a
I
play
mean-
with 4 people.
yeah. I mean, okay, yeah. That scene where he's explaining the spring, yeah, I find that infuriating. I know why they put it in. It was basically, the educational part, teaching the kids who are watching it, But
Yeah.
let's be honest, leave that sort of thing to Johnny Ball. William Hartnell can't really do it.
But he did a lovely speech of the solar system coalescing.
Well, yeah, I mean that was quite well done, and yeah, like I say, that was all established scientific fact. But the chances are a lot of people in 1963 watching this wouldn't have the faintest clue about it. So yeah, it's and that actually was well done. So you can be informative and effectively teaching people that way. Yeah, and it works.
Yeah.
The spring demonstration didn't.
Yeah. But there's a nice little bit of glee and excitement in the Doctor when he was sort of realizing what was happening outside. And it was obviously it's the formation of our solar system as well. So it was a case of he's at the start of the formation of Earth and everything like that. So there's a nice little bit of joy and glee there. This really was a strong outing for Jacqueline Hill as Barbara, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
This was a she bitch slapped the Doctor a good one. Yeah, I mean, like it didn't do any favors for Carol Ann Ford, for Barbara, for Susan.
No. Not at all.
She was just frantic. I mean, I really do dislike what happened to Susan from An Unearthly Child, because I thought that she was doing so well, and like she went from being this girl that was curious about everything to this girl that just screams at everything. I mean, there's even a point whereby I think is it in which one is it? Is it Dalek's Invasion of Earth? I think it is. She has a better show in by the end of that, by the way. But in Dalek Invasion of Earth, she actually screams, "Ah, Leaf!" What? she's running through a forest and she screams at a leaf, and I'm like, this is. And there's a point whereby she clearly knows she's on her way out and she's having a good laugh.
Well, I mean,
But,
Susan, that did cause Verity Lambert to have to write a letter of apology to the who was it, the BBC Children's Department after saying sorry, it was unwise to show Susan acting out death rage with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different things like that. But I mean, the whole point of the story is that what happens when these 4 people all suddenly, I mean, there's a point whereby they're amnesiatic, they're intoxicated, their minds have been, distorted. I mean, like if you look at the earlier performance in the first part of the episode, of the first episode. Ian Chesterton doesn't even know he's not in the school anymore. He turns around and thinks, Barbara's. He says, "Oh, you're working late, because he doesn't know where he's at, and it takes a while for everybody to get their faculties back. And it's for all of them. They don't realize they're on board the TARDIS. They don't realize, what's going on. They don't realize there's any problems. And again, there's a bit of suspicion and everything, paranoia being thrown around, I guess. So that's a big part of the story. If I had any sort of takeaways from it, I would say that the hostility in the episode kind of goes, well, this is what happens if you don't talk things out or think things through. if you just go to resort to hostile action, you could have ended up innocently killing yourselves, and it would have benefited no one because they would have all ended up dying. So I think that's a part of the narrative of the story as well. And given it is a zero budget. Let's be honest here. This is not a low budget episode. This is a zero budget episode.
Well, it still remains the cheapest Doctor Who episode ever made. Did have a budget. It had a budget of £2,500.
Yeah, and that's the actors.
Yeah.
And the actors and the crew. I've got a feeling. I don't know how much the actors were on. I can imagine that they were probably on £300 a week. Maybe that. I don't know. I don't know what the wages were. What are the wages? Let's have a look. I have no idea actually, so I'm gonna look it up. So yeah. Oh, for the 1960s, people learned less but could afford more. Okay. Go away. So yeah, 35, 40,000. Not seeing anything there. I'm just curious as to whether or not what the pay was for people who worked at the BBC in 1963. I can't imagine it being that much. £120 a week, maybe. No, I'm not seeing anything on that. Anyway, but yeah, this is obviously a super low budget episode of Doctor Who. I think it was a good idea, though. I mean, considering the amount of time that they had to sort of come up with a story, pad it out, get it sorted, rehearsed, and then filmed. It allowed them. I mean, for a great break of a story, it allowed them to change from one part of the studio to another part of the studio, give them time to redress, rebuild, and it was it threw up some interesting science fiction notions as well. Even though it wasn't part of the story, it still threw them in the air. Like it put them sort of, this can do anything, you know. And I think that we've got to acknowledge how early days in Doctor Who this is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's only the third story, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's fourth, is it? Fourth story. Unearthly Child. What was it? Daleks.
Daleks and then this. Yeah, this is third.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's yeah, it's literally it's very, very early days. Again, there's plenty of evidence in this that suggests that anything about the Timeless Children is absolute balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. I all you got to do is it's not hard. If you want evidence that Doctor Who starts here, just watch the bloody show. It's not difficult. Obviously we can't do Marco Polo. We're going to go on and do the Keys of Marinus, which is I think it's going to be a longer one, isn't it? What's the Keys of Marinus? 1, 2, 3,
6.
4, 5. It's a 6-parter, yeah. That's kind of a quest story, I think, whereby they sort of a Raiders of the Lost Ark type deal, whereby there's an object and you have to go find it.
Yeah, I mean, with regards to Marco Polo, we could do it, but it would be basically an audio drama because some of the reconstructions are too hard to watch, so you'd have to do it audio.
It's very messy.
On the subject of you talking about previous adventures and this definitely being the first Doctor and that.
Yep.
When Susan reminds the Doctor of their visit to Quinnis in the Fourth Universe, where they lost the TARDIS, There's actually an audio of Quinnis. I'm assuming someone has made an audio story of that
Possibly.
pre-adventure.
Yeah.
So I'm actually going to look at that and find out now.
But there's also, again, he mentions the fact that he had the clothes that he gave to Ian from Gilbert and Sullivan. The other part of that again is in I believe it's in Sensorites, where they call in the TARDIS and they're talking about things, and the Doctor mentions being taken to the Tower of London by Henry VIII, and he's saying, well, Susan says to him like, well, you had to go to the Tower of London because that's where the TARDIS was, and yeah, it's a previous adventure that Ian and Barbara knew nothing about because the Doctor even says it was before you two came on board. So there's plenty of stuff there to say, don't go by the later stuff. Don't go by the later stuff. He has fluxed it up, apparently.
Yeah.
But we got Keys and Marinus. We got the Aztecs as well. Then Sensorites. Now I will say this about Sensorites. It's a long ass episode. It's not really the most interesting of concepts. It's not really the most interesting of ideas. It's technically proto Ood. But I think for it's certainly sort of it certainly just opens up the ideas. I think it's Sensorite starts out meaning well, but it ends up sort of. I don't think it needed to be as many episodes as it was. Let's put it that way.
Well, we made it through Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I'm sure we'll cope.
Oh yeah. Look, it's not like cause I think Sensorites is 6 episodes again, 7 episodes. 1,
Yeah,
2.
6.
Yeah. We got some kooky designs in there, and there's times whereby you can see the people's ears and under the masks, because they for some reason they shoot it from the side. And it's like, oh, you can see his ears. So that does happen.
It's a feature.
Yeah. But what do you guys think on William Hartnell so far? With what you've seen, particularly for the, because I want to know particularly about this episode more than the others, because this is one whereby he's really abrasive.
Yeah, he's not a nice person at all in this, really, for the vast majority of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a proper grumpy git, isn't he? Conniving, fairly nasty.
He drugs the companions and his granddaughter. He's threatening to throw them off the ship. He's threatening to throw them off the ship, and he doesn't know even if they've landed.
Yeah, he doesn't care if there's an atmosphere, if it's too hot or too cold. He's like, no, I'm going to put you off my ship.
Yeah, but I mean, like, as the Doctor, he's still finding his feet. He's still. I don't mean William Hartnell's finding his feet. I mean the Doctor's still finding his feet. The Doctor as the character is still finding his feet, and this is part of what I was saying earlier with the fact that because of Ian and Barbara, it shapes the Doctor's behaviour. If you were to look at sort of this Doctor right now versus, say, for example, the 4th or 5th, they're nothing alike, and it shows growth of character, and it's something that I feel is missing from the show. I don't feel like. I think that the closest we got was with Peter Capaldi. To be honest, I think this is the next closest thing was with Peter Capaldi when he's like, "Am I a good man? I don't know." Because he's still sort of like starting off, but unfortunately, he didn't get the best stories.
No, that's true. Peter Capaldi could have potentially been one of the greats. I really liked him as a Doctor. I really liked Peter Capaldi as an actor. But the stories he was given were, well, they weren't very good, were they? Let's be honest.
There's one Peter Capaldi scene that is just setting off alarm bells, and Clara Oswald goes round and takes all of the TARDIS keys.
Oh yes,
And says, right, you're either going to help me or I throw these keys into this volcano. She does it, and Peter Capaldi says, "Right, I'm going to help you now." Effectively, yeah, what? I can't picture William Hartnell reacting that way.
No,
And if it was William Hartnell, she would have followed the keys into the volcano. You know,
yeah, but that's what I mean. But with I'm talking about specifically with growth in the character as well, because at the start of Peter Capaldi's run, when he does question whether or not he's a good person or not, that does change. I mean, it's an interesting notion and it's the only time I really felt that sort of development in a character for the Doctor. I don't really think that we ever got that with the other. All the others seem to be pretty much well established and with the same throughout that regeneration. Whereas I think with Peter Capaldi, there was a change in his Doctor. There definitely was because then he started doing modern rocker stuff as well, which is unfortunate. But
yeah.
Although he did have a good, for me, defining moment, Peter Capaldi, when that Victorian fellow is quite racist and derogatory to Bill
Yeah.
being black and female. the Doctor chins him. That was fantastic.
But my thing with Peter Capaldi, right? I know he was in a band. I know he could play guitar. Right? I get that, right? But in the same way, in the same respect, right? Just because you can play the guitar doesn't mean to say you have to make it part of the character.
Yeah.
I think the same thing about Sylvester McCoy and spoons.
I was just thinking, yeah,
but was
Sylvester McCoy playing the spoon.
Was it the actor's idea or the writer's idea? Say, oh, you can play guitar. We'll put that in the show.
I've got to be honest. The fact that no, I think it was Peter Capaldi's, because a lot of what Peter Capaldi did was to bring to the character, and I understood why he brought him to the character, was the fact that he wanted to give the fans something easy to mimic. That was his idea. That's why he brought in the Sonic glasses, because he wanted it to for it was easy for kids to dress up as the Doctor. But all they needed was a pair of shades.
I have to say though, with the guitar, the theme tune that era had was so weak. The one episode where it had the guitar as well as the theme tune, that was probably the best bit of music that in Capaldi's era for the intro, because I wasn't over keen on the theme that he was lumbered with.
Well, I mean, again, it's rather strange. They were at a point in Capaldi's era whereby they were taking a lot of things. They were taking the fans into account. They were very much still part of the fan community. Like, they were still doing stuff whereby they were responding directly to fans. The Peter Capaldi bloody opening sequence was a fan-made thing. They saw it online. They went, oh, they saw it on YouTube. Stephen Moffat saw it on YouTube and went, I like that. We're doing that. And they contacted the guy. The fan that made that bloody intro is actually credited in the BBC because they went and remade it for Peter Capaldi. I mean, that's how involved they were. How involved they are now, I don't know. What I can tell you is that Bad Wolf is taking over control of Doctor Who, and Russell T Davies is being given complete. I think I told you this, guys. Russell T Davies is being given complete creative control over Doctor Who. Now he's not being given distribution control, but the BBC have given him creative control.
There is a downside to that, though. Bad Wolf are on the verge of being bought by Sony Entertainment, so we'll see.
We'll see what happens. But at this moment in time, they're currently being given creative control of Doctor Who. So if they are being bought out, they're being bought out. I don't think that's going to change the fact that they are going to still be responsible for the production. I can't imagine Sony going, right then, Russell, this is what you're going to do. Because he is being given sole, as far as I can tell, he's being given sole creative control.
Well,
okay.
like I said to you in the chats earlier, he is a fan of the Timeless Child. That's what he's said. Whether he's just saying that because obviously he can't talk crap about what he's stepping into.
Look, here's the thing, right? What would you do if you were taken over from somebody and you just want them to leave you with some sort of ship that you can carry on sailing. What would you do?
Yeah.
Because this has happened before. People have taken over before, and somebody has deliberately written like this happened with Manny Koto when he took over from Star Trek Enterprise. They literally wrote a really shitty end to a thing whereby they killed Archer and John. I was like, right then, you deal with that, ha ha ha. And 30 seconds later, he went, okay, back in time, Nazis. There we are. And he dealt with it within 30 seconds of the opening sequence of season 4. But it has happened. People have deliberately where they've been. I think it happened on Smallville as well when Miller and Goff were replaced in season 8, and then the writers that took over went, no, we'll just write our way out of that. It's no problem. It does happen. So I think what Russell T Davies has done there is tried to smooth things out so that the transition between Jodie's Doctor and the next Doctor are going to be less abrasive. Where that goes, though, who knows? All we can say is at this moment in time, it's on life support. The show is on life support.
I just hope whoever they pick for the Doctor, male, female, black, white, rich, poor, known, unknown, I just hope they pick an actor that's good at the job, not an actor that ticks all the boxes. And that's the main concern for me.
Trouble is, that is exactly what they're going to do, isn't it?
It's
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. It's a really tricky one at this moment in time. Because here's an interesting fact. At this moment in time, the BBC has a disabled hiring policy, whereby I think it's something like 15%. So which is good. It's not a bad thing. They should have a more wider, available hiring policy. But there's also the whole thing of just because you can doesn't mean to say you should. So
No. I mean, it should be on merit. If they're doing a story about Martin Luther King, I'd expect them to hire a black actor. Someone like the Doctor is a fictional character, so that doesn't matter. So what they need to do is pick someone that can act. Doesn't matter what color they are or what rate, what sex they are, whether they're gay, straight, whether as long as they pick someone for their acting talent, not for what they are, but who they are.
Yeah, and there's another part of this as well. I tried to explain this to somebody before, and they still couldn't get it right. And this was kind of linked in with sort of Marco Polo as well, which was the fact that in Marco Polo they've got people pretending to be Chinese who aren't Chinese and all this stuff, and there's all this people that kicks up, and it's like, right then, here's the problem. Let's assume that you put out a casting call and you're looking for specifically for black actors, right? Let's just put that out there, right? It's a casting call. You want nothing but black actors because that's how you want to cast your film or whatever, right? So you put out your casting call. You turn up on the day. You open the doors. You go inside. You sit behind the desk. You get a script out, and nothing but white actors walk through the door. What are you going to do now? Like, just because that's what you want doesn't mean to say that that's what those people want either. It's all on a personal basis. That you can say, oh, we want Indian people in this, we want Chinese people in this, we want Spanish people in this, we don't want Australians, but we'll have French people in this. But that's what we want. Okay, that's great. You put the casting call. But whoever shows up, that's when you're going to know what you got. And if you're making a production like that, which has to roll within, 6 weeks or whatever, you've got to make the best of whatever it is that walks through the door. If you're not in a position where you can pick and choose, you've literally got to go with whatever you've got to go with. So when you hear these, particularly when people talk about older episodes of Doctor Who, where they're talking about these actors, it's like, oh, that's racist. Look at what they're dealing with. How are you supposed to make? Well, you're going to suddenly decide not to make millions of pounds and not make these episodes at all because somebody somewhere might be offended. Grow up.
Well, yeah, to me, I mean, all right, I can only speak from my own opinion. You know, I'm not black or Chinese or whatever, but surely it's only racist if if you hire these people and then you look at the ethnicity and start doing that and saying, look what we've done,
Yeah.
and you make a parody of it, like you know, as funny as it was for us when we was growing up, Benny Hill's character that used to say "hello" a lot was racist. There's no two ways about it. But it's people don't understand that some things are just a sign
means everything.
Yeah, it's a sign of the times as well, and you can't go back and undo that. It's already happened. You know, move on.
No, but
don't watch it.
Even so, like when we were talking about the things like the Talons of Wenchiang, you know, the fact that they cast the people that they did in that was because it was very limited. They were pooling from a very small pool of actors. They weren't there to piss people off. They weren't there to offend people. They were trying to tell a story, and they were going with the best actors that they could. And I think that if you're intentionally trying to cause offense, it's. I mean, you know, look at Green Death. We had a load of people in there trying to be Welsh. They weren't. They were trying. But
very trying.
But I wasn't sitting back going, these stupid bastards. Oh, you've offended me. Oh, you've made me mad. You're not really Welsh. Stop it. Cut it out. And
I mean, even going back to Talons, I mean, Deep Roy was playing a Chinese doll. I mean,
yeah,
he's not very Chinese, that fella.
But the thing is, like, I can understand to a certain degree, whereby you know you're dealing with things like blackface and so on, right? There are times when I can absolutely go right then. I can see what you're getting at there, but it's not like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder kind of a deal. But then, like, you've got to remember that if the makeup is there to assist these actors to play this part, it's not there to cause offense. If this is the actor that's playing the part, and this makeup will assist that performance. Like, where do you draw the line? Well, okay, so the makeup's wrong. Oh, all right, that's offensive. Right, is the wig offensive? Are they wearing an offensive wig? Like, are you offended by blonde people? Like, where are we going with this? How far do you want to take this? Again, it comes down to intention. I feel more than anything else, it comes down to intention. If your intention is to parody these people, is to stereotype these people, to make these people somehow lesser than, then that's wrong. But if your intention is to just help support the actor in the role, I don't really see a massive problem. I really don't see a massive problem. I get it that these days it's different, but these days we're dealing with a different pool of actors that we've got access to. That's not something they had 60 years ago.
That's true.
So, but there we are. Anyway, let's get back to talking about Edge of Destruction. Edge of I can't even say it. Edge
Inside
of
the spaceship.
Yes. And Brink of Disaster. Yeah, Edge of Destruction, not Edge of Glory. Of course, that's a very different thing there with Steph, otherwise known as Lady Gaga. Yeah, so short story. Pretty much plans out in about 40 minutes. It pretty much plays out in real time, not far off, in the second episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
The first
Again,
episode,
testament of how well directed the second episode was.
Yeah, I mean it's like if you look at the first episode they do have like a drug-in session. So, I make of that what you want. It's the 60s, I guess.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah, a lot of people watching that in the 60s were probably very familiar with drugging sessions.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of people in the 60s were on so many drugs they saw it in colour. Yeah, it's it was a surprise to them to learn it was in black and white.
Yeah, it's not every day you can talk about the the Doctor dumping Rohypnol on his companions
Or his granddaughter.
or his granddaughter. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a again, he's such an abrasive character in these early days. But what about Ian? What about the character of Ian in this? Because he's sort of almost I want to say a victim of circumstance, in the fact that he's really out of it to begin with. Then he gets like shocked, and then he passes out, and then he's trying his best to kind of piece it together, but he's really not doing a lot in this.
No. I do like the character of Ian, but okay, you can understand it right. In the very first episode, Doctor, he's very sort of closed-minded, and he thinks, the whole idea is preposterous and all this. And very, very slowly throughout his time there, he does sort of become a bit more sort of open-minded to it all. At the time when this story has happened, he's still very sort of like, refusing to believe, even though he's seeing it for himself.
Is his stubborn-mindedness, though, good for him when he confronts the Doctor, though? Being that sort of close, I don't want to say close-minded, but stubborn. Because the Doctor's quite stubborn in this.
So yeah, I mean, trying to be more stubborn than the Doctor at this time, yeah, good luck with that. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really do him too many favours, because you can't really imagine if those two are getting into any kind of rows, neither of them are going to budge 1 inch. I mean, we could be there a long time waiting for a resolution there.
I mean, the other part of this, I guess, as well, is that we don't really get. I mean, it's a kids' show at this point.
Oh yeah.
So we're not really gonna get any sort of. There's a relationship going on with him and Barbara that we're just not seeing. Right?
Yeah.
There is something going on between those two. How the hell they manage on those beds? Mind, I'll never know.
See, it was I don't think it was ever actually written into any episodes or anything like that. But I always did assume that Barbara and Ian were a couple.
They married in Doctor Who canon.
All right.
Yeah, it was mentioned in. I want to say it's either the name of the Doctor. It's one of those episodes whereby they actually do mention Ian and Barbara, and they're saying that they are married. So it's it's one of those things. Obviously, it's sad what happened with Jacqueline Hill. Obviously, she passed away. I want to say in the 70s. I believe maybe 80s.
I think it was 80s, because she was in.
She was in another. She was in another episode of Doctor Who. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was. She couldn't have been that old though.
I don't think she was.
She died on the 18th of February 1993, and she was
Really?
born. She was born in 1929. So
Oh, bloody hell. Oh, she'd have been what, 60?
yeah, 60. Well, 63, something like that.
64, yeah.
Yeah. But still not nice. And of course, William Russell is still in and out of Doctor Who. Well, in and out of Doctor Who fandom anyway. Not so much in the show.
Oh, it'd be great to see him back in Doctor Who for just one more story.
Well,
Don't think it will happen.
He was,
but-
yeah, he was in An Adventure in Space and Time, because he played the guard of the BBC guard on the door.
But he's not.
Everybody's back.
He's 97 now. So if he's going
Yeah.
to, they want to get a wriggle on with it.
Yeah, no, his time is very short. He's probably aware of that as well. But he still does things. He still does videos and so on. I don't know what the last video it was that he did. So look, yeah. I'm just having a quick look here. So he done something 8 years ago. He did do the 50th. He did an interview for the 50th. So that's what it's a fair bit. So he done something 3 years ago where he received an award from DWAS. That was He is looking ill, but I mind he's not looking young at all.
Well, someone in their 90s is not likely to.
No, you'd have been what, 94, I guess. So I think he's got some of his faculties though. Yeah, he's looking frail over there.
But he's entitled to, man. You know.
Oh yeah, of course he is. Yeah, yeah. I'd be lucky to make it to that age.
Yeah, you and me both. Mind you saying that, I'd still be over halfway there.
Good grief. I mean, yeah. So yeah, he is still doing things here or there, but it's mainly YouTube stuff as well. How do you feel that with how the series shapes out with Hartnell? Obviously he's having trouble as well. Medically, he's having trouble. Do you think that they should have not so much changed the actor, but do you think they should have written stories whereby the Doctor was a little bit more light in the stories, because they ended up having to write them out in places because he was too ill to be in them. So I'm just wondering what you think that they should have done, or what they could have done differently, just to ease the burden off of Hartnell.
Well, pretty much what you've said. You know, lighten the load on him. You know, still, you know, he's still the title character, but he could have been a bit more stay on the TARDIS and send out an away team sort of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably another way of looking at it. Is actually is having him be the vessel that just takes them on the journey and sort of drops them off and says, you know, go check and go have a look at this, or go have an issue. But I mean, it's hard for us to. It's easy for us to sort of like look at the show and see like him flubbing his lines, so on. Which sometimes he done it in Edge of Destruction.
Yeah.
Where a couple of times he flubbed, but it's easy for people to criticize that. But at the same time, they don't know his medical condition. You know,
Yeah. Also, like, you know, as a viewer watching it, it comes across as just part of the character. Rather now, when you look at it, rather than thinking, oh, you know, that's William Hartnell cocking up because he's not well or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, the first Doctor used to trip over his words sometimes. You know, it's a character trait because he done it so often as the series went on. It pretty much was a character trait that William Hartnell brought to the role inadvertently, but there it is.
Well, I mean, he's trying to cope with the role. I think it's arterial sclerosis he had, and he's trying to cope with that, as well as learning the lines that they were giving him, and sometimes they were handing him lines which are just ludicrous. You know, and you saw in this how when they were handing like the formation of the solar system, that whole speech there, he had no problems with that. You know, and there's even a moment in, I think it's in Keys of Marinus, I think, whereby he's managed to have, because he was ill during Marco Polo for a bit. He gets a little bit of time off. He comes back sort of at the end of Marco Polo. but he's had a bit of time off, and then he comes into Keys of Marinus. He's far more rejuvenated because he's rested and everything. He's on point with that story. So, given the fact that he's dealing with what he's dealing with, do you think it's fair the way that some people refer to him or his character? You know, in the fact that he does flub.
No, I don't. I don't think it's fair that they would pull something up on that. When you consider the way, the show was made, it was practically a live performance.
Oh, it's very
And-
much a live performance.
Yeah, but it is what it is. There's like I said, I like to view it as a character trait rather than thinking, oh, William Hartnell's not very well. It's well known now that he wasn't very well, so
Yeah.
it's not something that needs to be dwelled upon. It is what it is, and it's like, even if they had have made it lighter, so Hartnell could have done it longer,
It's just the fact
Then
that
that would have changed. God, I was going to say that would have just changed the future with Trout and onwards. So
Yeah,
it's
no, it's just the
hindsight.
fact that I think that I've seen people look back at these shows and go, "Oh, these aren't very good." The acting is a bit loose. It's not very well. But I'm thinking from the point of view of these people have got together with a couple of bob, being able to knock these sets together in a very small shoebox of a studio. Again, it's 20 by 20. That's what the size of the studio. 20 meters by 20 meters. That's all they had. They recreate in the landscapes of alien planets, of historical events, historical figures. And then you've got a guy then like William Hartnell then, who is a known actor, a known, film and TV, stage and screen. And he's going through some crap. And it's very difficult. I think it's very difficult. I think most people would end up saying, oh, yeah, but I'm judging on the final result. But the final result can only be as good as the starting point. And the starting point is, look at what you're dealing with. No budget, small studio, ill actors. And again, it's the same with, I think it's the same with all of them, the acting range and the experience and difference in this cast here, which is why I like this particular crew. Even with Susan, I know Susan can be like hysterical, and we'll get around to talking about Susan. But even so, the range that it covers is a broad spectrum. You've got these two sort of young adults with Ian and Barbara. You've got the teen and Susan, and then you've got the I don't say he's not wise. I wouldn't call him that crotchety old man in The Doctor. But I mentioned Susan. We've got to talk about her. It's a bit of a wasted character, isn't it?
Can be, yeah.
I mean, she is technically the first companion, but they didn't do a lot with her.
No,
And I don't know what they should have done with that, but sorry, Luke, what were you going to say?
I'm trying to think of episodes where she sort of shone, for lack of a better word. Dalek Invasion of Earth, in parts, is about the only one I can think of.
Yeah, and again, and that's her way out as well.
Yeah.
So it's very much I mean,
It's a wasted opportunity, really, because when you think about it, this is another Time Lord. I mean, okay, I guess back then they had no idea that obviously that it was going to last for as long as it did. So, they wouldn't have, well, I can't imagine anyway, they would have written her as, a future time lady or whatever.
I mean, she's not no Romana, is she?
No, but no, because you've just raised a really, 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 really good point. We're talking about this show going into its 60th year. This is a sci-fi TV show. Name me one sci-fi TV show that's going into its 60th year. Name me any TV show that's going into its 60th year.
Yeah. The only other television show I can think of, you got the Sky at night, but yeah, I mean that's not even
Coronation
drama of
Street.
any kind. Yeah. That's about it.
Like, Big Bang Theory lasted a long time. That was 12 years. That's a long run for a show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
I
is
mean-
5 times that.
Yeah, I mean, even something as long lived as the Stargate franchise still only
Yeah.
lasted what 15 years.
Yeah. Again, I mentioned Star Trek Enterprise, 4 years. Like,
I mean, the Star Trek franchise is getting on for 60, but
Yeah.
it's there's that's sort of like a myriad of shows under one umbrella, whereas Doctor Who is just Doctor Who. It's been Doctor Who all the way through.
The Star Trek franchise is all spin-off shows.
Yeah,
It's not still dealing with Kirk, Spock, and McCoy. It's
more's
It's
the
not.
pity.
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. Nobody expected this show. I think when they were making this show, they were just happy to get the next year.
Yeah.
When it was like, we're going to replace William Hartnell with Patrick Troughton. I thought people were like, well, okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to change the actor, and therefore that's because you look at any time they've changed the actor in a show, and really either the actor hasn't been around for long or the character hasn't been around for long. I mean, I remember what's his name, Bertarelli from Hello Hello, was one where they changed the character halfway through the series, and he was just like he was there for sort of one season, and then he was changed, and then he was gone in the next season. It's not very often that you change the character completely, because you try to imagine it from this point of view. Then they've just taken the lead actor. Something's gone wrong with the Doctor. Now nobody knew what regeneration was, so the Doctor's just fallen down on the floor, and his face has just changed. Now, are you expecting in the next Dalek story where Patrick Troughton's the Doctor? Are you expecting him to change back? Are you expecting him to get to the end of the episode and change back into William Hartnell? Because to those people, he was the Doctor.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm reading and hearing interviews with fans from the time. A lot of them did not like it at all.
Yeah.
The idea of the Doctor being anyone other than William Hartnell was like, no way. So they were very resistant to it. And
Yeah.
Troughton, it took a while for a lot of fans to accept Troughton.
Yeah, because again, they didn't. The idea of regeneration was like, because they just literally replaced the actor, and I don't think
Yeah.
even at this point it didn't this hadn't happened in Bond yet.
No,
I
It
can
was-
only
no, not for a few years.
I can only think of one other television show where it's really worked because of the way they did it, and that was even that only run for 3 series. That's the show Game On, where they changed the character of Matt from Ben Chaplin to Neil Stoke from series 1 to series 2, and it was
Yeah.
Neil Stoke for 2 series. But at the end of the first episode, all 3 of them are sat down watching the telly. And one of them says, "Don't you just hate it when you're watching a television show and they change one of the characters for another actor, and they both turn around and look at him, and he just looks at the camera, and then the credits roll."
Yeah,
And that sealed the deal. But obviously, that's a comedy show. You can't do that in a sci-fi show that's not really comedy. So, but
Yeah.
it did work for that. But yeah, the
But
way
it-
they did it in Doctor Who was genius.
yeah, but it's still a big point of the fact that from the audience perspective, like they did not know that he wasn't going to change back into William Hartnell. Like they couldn't have. It's like with these days we have this thing called the internety webby thing, but back then they had papers or something, and magazines and stuff, Radio Times.
Ooh, all the big hitters.
Yeah, absolutely. Massive monster things. But yeah, so it couldn't have been like it couldn't have been easy for an audience to just suddenly go, "Oh wow, okay, we're dealing with a new actor." And with everything that they've done with the show, I mean, again, like I said, you raised a good point. they would playing this show out as, are we going to make the next series? Are we going to make the next series? And nobody ever imagined the fact that they got to the 10th anniversary.
Yeah, yeah.
10 years of Doctor Who, like 10 years of making a TV show. I mean, I cannot think of another TV show that went that long. That just anyone. I mean, World of Sports didn't. What else? I mean, and that run for a long time. The ITV chart show. No, that didn't. Swap Shop. Nope. I'm just trying to think of any, and not talking about the biggest, most expensive shows here either.
Yeah, so the only one I can think of is the Sky at Night.
Yeah,
But then, I mean, with that, of course, that's only one episode per month.
and
So,
two people sitting in a dark room.
yeah, for the vast majority of the time, yeah. So it's as cheap as, television making gets, I think, that thing.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah. I mean, Time Team, I think, run for 17 years. I think, maybe.
I didn't know it went on as long as that.
I think it did. Because I think they're on about bringing it back, which I hope they do. So yeah. And it run from. Oh God. Time Team ran from. Oh, it ran 20 years. Run from January 1994 to September 2014.
I
you
ain't
go.
that game.
Yeah.
No, it's not. A
Well,
lot of it is available on YouTube if you haven't
It
seen
is,
it.
yeah.
They've got their own YouTube channel.
Yeah, and they got the Time Team and Time Team Classics, and I've been going through them. that's been running. That was running for 20 years. They are on about bringing it back. So with these stories now, and again, we've taken the fact that at this moment in time they're still stuck in Lime Grove, which is a shoebox, obviously. Like it's not that small of a studio. 20 by 20 isn't that small of a studio. It is for this type of show, though, because if you're making question of sport, it's not an issue. Or you're doing the news, or so, it's not that much of a problem. But again, you imagine that you've got a studio where literally your standing set, your principal standing set, takes up half the studio. That's what you're dealing with. Should they have moved to a bigger studio first? I don't think they really knew what the production was. I don't think anybody knew what the production was on this.
I think given the limitations that they were faced, they did a fantastic job. And I wouldn't have changed a single thing about it.
Yeah, no, I can't criticize them for the effort that they put in. But I mean, we're talking early days here at the BBC with Doctor Who. I don't think they felt like there was a smash until the Daleks came along. I still feel like that there's the stigma with the show from that. Even though they had a massive audience, like I think the episode we watched was viewed by over 9 million people.
But I've actually got the viewing figures on this page.
I guess 9.4.
Edge of Destruction, 10.4 million. Brink of Disaster, 9.9 million.
No,
So,
even up from where I'm, yeah. So that to me says that the BBC are not invested in the show. Like they're making it and they're just letting them rattle off whatever they can rattle off, and they're just watching the numbers coming in. Whereas I think by the time, when do they change from? I'm trying to think when they actually do change from Lime Grove to Ealing, because that's a big change in the studios. Like
I don't know when that was.
I wouldn't know.
like I said, it's not that it's a small studio. It's a small studio for the needs of the production. Like it's really difficult to imagine how limited they were. Because even like if you, I think you can get a look actually. Let me just.
Well, I mean,
I'm,
you think about it, with the standing TARDIS set. That means to create an alien planet, they've got a space of 10 by 20.
oh yeah, yeah. I'll show you actually the studio. Just so you can see it, so that you can understand the limitations that they were under. Um, this is pretty good, Zach. I'll zoom in on that a little bit. Now, this is a recreation based on the actual studio plans. So if I do this, there you go. That's all of Lime Grove. The viewing booth is up this end. And this was from An Unearthly Child. So there's this TARDIS standing set. And literally, this here was the street that the police officers walks down. And you get to there. There's Foreman's Yard. Goes through the doors there. The TARDIS is actually there. You can actually see the TARDIS sticking out there. And you can see how much of this. This was the corridor for Coal Hill School. This was the set for Coal Hill School in here. So you had the street, the yard, the school, and the corridor, and the TARDIS. And you can see how much of the set the TARDIS took up. And that's literally, that's all the. This here was, this is the edge of the studio. This is the studio wall. And this here is the meter that they have to leave either side for camera equipment, cables, and fire exits. The rest of this down here they couldn't use because this is literally the gallery for where the director would sit. So you can see how much room they had to work with. This is why this set had to go following Edge of Destruction. And what was left after this set was literally these doors here and this wall here. And the console.
It's a shame because it's a lovely set.
Yeah, absolutely. But it had to go. It was unwieldy. I mean, I don't know if you want to comment on the limitations that they had there, but what do you guys think of that?
It's compact. Give it that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it is a shame that that set had to go, but yeah, practicality reasons, you can certainly see why they did.
I mean, I don't think people really realised just how small a space we're talking about. But you imagine that, again, the next episode after Edge of Destruction is Marco Polo, whereby they recreate in the Chinese landscape.
Yeah, they needed some green screen there, didn't they?
Well, I mean, it's going to be very difficult to fit the Himalayas in there. It really, but so for that actually to do that, how they managed to do that? Again, they had this wall here and this one here plus the console, and they were stuffed over in this corner here, like so. All of this then was the Himalaya mountainside was up here, I believe. And then we had Marco Polo's and the Kubla Khan's hut and everything down here. We had a tent up here. Or was the tent? No, the tent was over here, I'm sure. Which is the inside of the tent set. Yeah, it was all sorts of stuff all over the place. Just to, and it looked impressive.
I mean, yeah, for what they had, the ingenuity to do it. I mean, it doesn't really show on the camera. I mean, I've seen stills from Marco Polo, and it really doesn't show that they were struggling as much as they were.
Well, again, it's very difficult to see how the space was managed. If I can get a good picture, actually, because you get some really nice stuff from the sets, but yeah. There you go. There's one of the pictures. So you can see the back curtain there. You know, and it's literally this pass here is literally in the top corner, I believe. I don't know if there's the actual set plans, but again, they were so tight for space. And again, the idea that they were going to be crossing the Chinese desert as part of the plot was like, that's ambitious. You know, that's not even slightly ambitious. That's ridiculously ambitious, particularly for a story of this magnitude.
I'm looking at that photo and I'm thinking, how much of that set and those costumes were reused in the Reboss operation? Because it looks almost identical.
Yeah, it's and undoubtedly it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of things got bandied back and forth in and out of production. I mean, you know, all like the Cybermen outfits were constantly being reused, and I think everything was reused until they disintegrated. You know, so.
Yeah, I've got a shot of a set that I think's quite nice from Marco Polo.
Now, a sec. Just let's go to that. And I'm still on the wrong screen. Oh, what have I done?
If you don't know, we can't help you.
There you go.
It looks bigger than what they had. You know what I mean? You know that set's got depth to it.
Yeah, but that's right. So that set there is actually where where that wall is there. That's the curtain.
Yeah.
You know, that's the curtain again. So if you look at that from the reverse angle, you'd be able to see the TARDIS box, and the TARDIS box wasn't a box. It was a flat bit of card. I don't know. Is there any parts that you could see?
Well, I've actually pulled that from the Telesnap reconstruction. So
Yeah. No, there's one shot of it whereby, like, I think it's in the background. Because it keeps. The idea is that Marco Polo has nicked the TARDIS, and he's going to present it to Kubla Khan, and that's pretty much the principle of the show. And like the box isn't used very often in it. Let me. There's quite a nice one. We can see the sort of the limitations of the studio. I mean, it's literally where the TARDIS is there. If you look at where the box is, you got this row here, which is the back of the set, and then you got the mountains behind, which is the curtain. You're looking maybe 10 feet, if that. I would hazard a guess that you're probably looking at about 7 feet there to the back of the set. It doesn't look an awful lot to that pile of or that fake rock wall there. And that's pretty much. I mean, this is what they were dealing with. This is the sort of area that you can actually see if you look back there where it says 12. That's literally looking over this there, and that's the back wall. You know, it's incredibly tiny.
yeah, I must admit, like flicking through the telesnaps here.
Yep.
I mean, some of the sets that they built are bloody superb, like the one I've just shared up there.
Oh yeah. If you look at the color photos, because the color photos really show you, because they did actually take color photos of the set.
Well, yeah, the ones I've got are all colour. Like this, the one I've
Yeah.
shared that is of a jungly type thing.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm on about there. That's been cut from from one of the telesnaps. Yeah. But the actual so this one was taken from So yeah, there you go. That's one of the set photos. There you go. That's what it looked like. You know, that was taken live on set. That's not a telesnap. That was a photograph of the production. It just pops. It just looks great. But again, you get this is how limited they were. Even the pillars inside Kubla Khan's set are actually just painted on. You know,
Yeah.
they're not real struts or anything. They literally painted on to make it look like that way. Everything beyond this part here is just painted flats. You know, and they've just stuck curtains in front of it. The most ambitious thing they've got there is this fire or this urn or whatever it is. I mean, this is the sort of production, the levels that they were coping with. So when they do something like Edge of Destruction, again, Edge of Destruction was done the way it was done because they had to do this. There's no there's no way around it. And I mean, all the studio was like this. You know, they crossed it. Supposed to be crossing, the crossing the desert and like literally the casting the shadow onto the curtains behind. Like, you know, it's insane. Have I got any photos capturing that? I know there is one of Caroline Ford. It's a bit unfair to point out these things on this, considering that it is such a small studio.
Yeah, I mean, I'm you know, none of the things I've looked at I'm going to point out and ridicule because you know I know what I was up against.
Well,
as you say, that's what a lot of people that only really know like the modern expensive version of Doctor Who. They don't realise what a shoestring budget and or the lack thereof, and how the limitations of what they had to work with.
This is the whole thing this is why I like to do this as well when we go back and look at these ones, is because you've got to remember how hand tied they were. Like, they are one step away from being on stage at a theater doing this. Like, it's so limiting in what they were able to do and what they ended up delivering. Like, it's crazy how creative they had to be without the technology to be creative. Like, you can't imagine telling people. This is why I have real problems when we talk about, you know, why it is that they haven't remade it. Like, look at what they had to deal with. Look at the limitations they had, and tell me that you can't match that. Because that's what they turn around and saying. We can't do that. Why you can't better that with today's technology, today's cameras, today's lighting techniques, today's special effects? You can't match or better that. Come on, it's a nonsense. But anyway, what are we doing next week?
We're going to be doing the Keys of Marinus, I would imagine.
Are we doing the Keys of Marinus, or are we doing Blake 7? What do you fancy? We can do the Keys of Marinus. I have no problems in doing Keys of Marinus at all. But do you fancy doing Blake 7?
I mean, how many episodes of Blake 7 would we do?
All of them.
Not in one night, we wouldn't, mate. I'll tell you that much for nothing.
Let's say 52 in one night. Yeah, good luck there.
I think this look, yeah. I want to go to BritBox for a second. Go back on a BritBox. I will take a look.
Maybe the first two, but
I don't know. Is it worth doing more than one? The Blake 7. the first season of Blake Seven. What? Well, I know it was on you.
Yeah, I'll have to
I have a
get them
feeling
off
we're
the
doing the
other
Keys
computer.
and Mariners next week.
Wait a sec. Is it? Has it moved to Netflix? Just out of curiosity, because it was.
Not on the ever reliable BritBox. What are you going to do?
Okay, it was. Well, no, because here's the thing. It was on BritBox. That's rather strange.
So, like Lucosa said, Keys and Mariners it is then.
Well, no, I refuse to believe it's not on yet.
Well, when it comes to the choice of the two, I mean, I'm entirely neutral. I mean, I'm the newcomer, but not only that, I am more than happy to do either one. So I really do not mind which it is.
Yeah, that's really peculiar. That is so. No, it's there. What the hell? I typed in a search and it weren't there. I've just clicked on the sci-fi section now, and I'm not making it up. It's there.
Where's the apostrophe and did you miss it out? That's the thing with the search.
I don't know. I don't know, but that's what I'm looking at right there. And there is Blake 7. Clearly, there is
Yeah.
Blake 7. But when I put the search in, maybe I done it wrong. Sorry, we couldn't find what we were looking for. You're full of crap. I can see it. That's Terrahawks. I can see it right there. Let's look at more info. Let's look. Yeah. The first episode 1, The Way Back, Spacefall, Cygnus Alpha, Times Squared, The Web. Yes, it's all there. Excellent. So if you fancy it, we'll start next week with The Way Back. How long is The Way Back? 49 minutes. So if you want to start off, we can start next week with doing Blake 7. 13 episodes.
Well, we can do. I mean, how do you want to do it? Do you want to alternate Blake 7 and Doctor Who, or just do one, or just do the other? I mean, it's your channel, mate. You tell us.
If you want to do it that way, we can do it that way. I don't mind doing Doctor Who Blake 7 and then say the week after then doing Space 1999. And then we'll keep rotating in that way.
That means I'm going to have to get hold of Space 1999.
Well, you don't have to. We don't have to do it. It's all up in the air. It's up for grabs.
No, I don't mind Space 1999 at all. I'll just have to procure a copy of it.
It's on YouTube.
Is it?
So yeah, it's not difficult to find.
I would imagine so. I would imagine that it's probably there. Yeah. But no, we can do that. Of course we can. Like I said, I'm all for doing more things as well. I'm enjoying doing classic Who. But yeah, we can do again. I have no problems in doing the first season of Blake 7 at all. The other seasons a little bit more shaky, but the first season is probably some of the best sci-fi writing I've ever seen. It's just incredible.
There are some great stories in all four series of Blake 7. Even series 4. Yeah, one of my favourite Blake 7 episodes of the lot is in series 4. Orbit. Fantastic episode that.
I'm trying to think which one that is. Orbit is again. Oh, have we got in here? It says here the Federation scientist offers Avon the ultimate weapon. but he wants something in return. Yes, I remember that.
It's got one of the greatest endings in Blake's, of the entire run of Blake 7.
Yeah. The thing is as well, Avon to me was pretty much overrunning the show by that
Well,
point,
certainly in Series 4, yes.
and like I would have just done something different. I would have just done something else with Blake instead. I would have brought somebody else back because Gareth Thomas didn't want to do it. So to me, it would have been like, well, because again, I don't think he really wanted to be part of the show from the beginning. He seemed to be happy with to get the job and get the money, but then he just kind of wanted to leave, and then so Blake 7 became 6.
Yeah. I think, titled Blake 7, but I think, for more than half the run, it was always 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, you look at the picture of the cast as well, and the picture of the cast is usually, 5 people plus Servalan. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
not to spoil things.
Avon's 6 probably would have been better.
Yeah, but not to spoil things, but certain people don't make it all the way through. So
Yeah, well, that was one thing I liked about Blake 7, and
Yeah.
it made it totally different to any other program. They had no problem with killing off major characters.
I think the other thing the
If
thing
your
I
favourite
really
character
liked-
was Gan, you had it.
yeah, hold the door. I don't know. I think one of the things I liked with Blake 7 more than a lot of things was the fact that the main cast weren't necessarily nice people.
No, not at all.
And,
Well, I mean, they were literally the bad guys, weren't they?
yeah. So it's a case of these people don't get on, they don't like each other, they're
Yeah.
forced into this situation.
And really,
I mean,
they're forced in that situation by Blake. I mean,
Yeah.
he's the biggest bastard of the lot.
Yeah.
It's not so much his way or no way, it's his way, and that's an end of it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the
His
character
way or
like
his
Villa,
way.
Yeah.
Villa is just a thief and he's a coward, and he has no interest in being there whatsoever.
No.
And again, Servalan is an interesting character because she's kind of this very sexualized woman, and she just doesn't give a crap. She just does whatever she likes. She's but she's very much in control.
And I think casting Jacqueline Pierce as Servalan is the greatest piece of casting in television history.
Yeah.
What a fantastic choice.
Yeah, she was great. She had a terrible wig in The Two Doctors, but she had a... But yeah, no, I like a lot of what they did in Blake 7. I'm not so keen on the Liberator.
Oh,
It's
like
I,
the Liberator.
I like the Liberator design, but I liked the fact that in Series 4 when they had the Scorpio, basically their ship was a piece of junk, and it meant they no longer had the huge advantage that they did with the Liberator.
It's not. Yeah, right. To me, the Liberator is one of those models that one of the designs really that actually to me is. I really don't like it. I don't like the design of the ship.
Let's not forget as well, it was also the ship that was destroyed by Snot.
Well, yeah.
But it's just the fact that it looks to me like bottles.
Probably what it was.
yeah, it looks like what it was.
And I know the model was a real pain to work with because the light at the back of it kept melting the thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that it could have been a nicer design, but they were trying to sell it as being this sort of like this alien ship. And aside from the bulb on the back, it didn't. It looked like it sort of like looked like a knockoff version of Thunderbird 3. It's like something Thunderbird 3, but somebody stuck the engines on the wrong way around.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, you look at the front, the nose cone, or whatever, the Liberator. Yeah, there is some Thunderbird 3 similarities there.
I have seen a fan version of the Liberator?
I'm just about to share one, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I won't. I'm not going to do any sound, but we'll have a look. Seeing as we're talking about it.
So, yeah, it's cack.
It looks a lot. It looks a lot better in that shot, though.
Yeah, it does, but it's still no.
I do like it.
I
I mean,
like
I
it as
think
well.
it looked better if he was flying that way. Like if the green bit was the front and this bit was the back, it looked a lot better.
Yeah, but Gene Roddenberry might have got the ump with it.
Yeah, maybe so, but I don't care. It's technically a Y-wing.
I mean, there's no denying it's absolutely iconic. As soon as you look at it, you know, instantly
Yeah.
recognisable. In that regards, it works.
It's just shit.
Oh dear.
It just is. I don't like it at all. I don't find anything about this. I wanna.
I mean,
like,
in terms of practicality, it's about as useless as a ship design gets. But it just looks so good to me, so I don't care about that.
it's just the fact that like it's. I wish these things didn't look so rocketry. Like it just looks like a rocket. They built out of bits of rocket, and it just doesn't. Like I have seen better versions of the Liberator.
Well, that came courtesy of the YouTube channel Tony Gardner. So there you go.
Yeah, I just.
So
Something
do you
about the
prefer
style of it.
do you prefer the design of the Scorpio ship then?
That's a very much more of a Martin Bauer design. That is, it's because
There is some great model work when they had the Scorpio, the landing bay, the landing pad of the Xenon base. It's some of the best model work I've seen in television science fiction. It just looks so good.
it's like when you look at the Scorpio is much more of a. You can see the influence of things like Buck Rogers and Star Wars on it.
Certainly, Star Wars, yeah, it has that sort of. Could that be based on a Star Destroyer?
Destroyer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you're in the minority, Carwin, because I mean, just looking at the comments under that video,
Yeah.
the top comment under that is the Liberator was and is a magnificent ship, one of the best ships ever designed for sci-fi. So I
and
mean,
they're
everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah, but like for example, right? The problem I have with the Liberator is the fact that it looks retro sci-fi, BBC sci-fi. That's my problem with it. Is it does if you were to hand me a model and say the BBC made this, I go yeah they did.
See, do you know why it looks like that?
Yeah, because they didn't have
Because
a
the
lot of budget.
BBC made it.
Yeah. But it's like they could have done other things, and I've got a feeling like Martin Bauer was trying to do something else with it, and he was just like, right then, this is what I've got, and they went, oh okay, and then he sort of just turned it around, pointed it backwards, and went, oh, it flies like that instead, and they were like, oh okay, and no, I don't, the alien aspect of it with the green bulb and everything on the back end, I think I like. I don't mind that, but it's not fluid enough for me to totally like it.
Well, if you're in the minority there, because I'd really like it as well, and always have done.
I do think it's a great ship design.
No, it's like I can't describe. It's like as if they just chopped up a couple of bits of rocket ship, a rocket ship model, and just
They did. You can see that's what they did.
It's like they just glued the plumbing section of Leaks together, and it was just like, no, it's not for me. The thing is, I don't mind the design, some of the other designs of the other ships in the show. Like the
Not-
London isn't too bad a design.
Not the one that was two hair dryers stuck together though.
No. But I don't know. Because to me, I think part of my problem with the Liberator is the fact that it looks very human built, and it's supposed to be an alien ship, and I think that's why I don't like it. Is the fact that it doesn't sell alien on to me. It does a lot of things, but it doesn't say alien.
What about the interior? What do you reckon of that?
It's a different sort of set, but it's still based around a human form. And I wouldn't mind. This is why, like, if you're gonna deal with these sorts of ideas, you gotta kind of go, well, because they kind of did it with obviously, like with something like Independence Day, whereby they had like the seating in Independence Day, and they had to change it because it wasn't meant for the human form, so they had to bring in their own seats. And nothing about that has really happened with Blake 7. So there are other designs for the Liberator that I've seen. Let's have a look, yeah. But like I said, no, I don't mind. Because again, if you're going to look at these design aesthetics, this is why design aesthetics is a real problem for me in lots of things, not just like with Blake 7, but this is why I didn't like the costumes for things like Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, because the costume for Batman and the costume for Superman looked like they were made by the same person, and that was supposed to be made by a millionaire, and that was supposed to be an alien spacesuit. And when you're dealing with those sort of factors, it doesn't like it doesn't work for me. I mean, look, I normally like a lot of Martin Bauer stuff.
Let's be fair to Henry Cavill though. A lot of that suit was actually him because he really worked out for the part of
No,
Superman.
he did have a lot of rubber on him. He was wearing a lot of the rubber undersuit of that suit was quite extensive. He was in good shape, but he was wearing a lot of rubber. The end of Skinner is a lot thicker than people think.
Saying that, I've never watched that film because it didn't have the right music. So
Didn't have the right actors either. I'm trying to find, because like there's some ships for there. There's the London. The Scorpio. See, like, let me just get at this one. Let's open that up. Let me share that. See, no, that's from season 3, season 4. That's a much better looking ship.
Yeah, that's series 4. I'm trying to remember the title. It's the one that Roy Kinnear's in.
Yeah. But it's quite a good, nice looking ship.
Yeah,
It's
Gold.
sleek.
that's the series. That's that episode.
Yeah. It's it's nice looking. So the design work on it, they can do some really good designs. It's just when they got to the Liberator, they just didn't.
Hearing those words, it's like someone putting a knife through my heart. That is.
I mean, look, I had an argument with my friend Paul when he was talking about Star Trek: The Motion Picture, and my argument was that it looks 70s, and he was like, "No, it doesn't. It looks futuristic." I was like, "Paul, you're getting old."
Oh, don't start him off, Carwin, because I know he's a huge fan of the motion picture down there.
Yeah, motion picture, my favourite Star Trek film.
I have no problems with the film at all. I have no problems with it. It's long. Sometimes it's slow. I don't, and I have no problems. But you cannot watch that film and go, it doesn't look 70s. You cannot.
No, there are a lot of parts that do have a very 70s look, particularly the uniforms.
They got
Yeah.
metal chops.
The pajamas.
I mean,
And it,
I've said this before to friends of mine, right? I love the refit Enterprise. I
yeah,
do love the refit. It's probably one of the best things to ever come out of any version of stuff. But it's disco. It's got rainbow colours all over it. It's got flares. It's literally got bloody flares. It's got collars that stick out. It's so 70s. So 70s. And look at the poster. The poster is all rainbow 70s as well. It's the most disco
Yeah.
thing I've ever seen. But that doesn't matter. That's not me going, oh yeah, that's shit because of that. I love it, but you've got to acknowledge it belongs from to a particular time period. You know, it's
yeah, I certainly can't argue with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I admit all that was missing was a BG soundtrack, really.
yeah, literally. It's literally got collars. Look at the nacelles. The back of the nacelles literally got collars that stick out. So the wings, it's a beautiful looking ship, but it's very very disco.
We never used to call them collars when I was growing up. They was always Freddie Lakers.
But I mean, you know,
Anyone young watching, just Google it.
I think that a lot of what they do with the designs on these retro designs, I like a lot. It's just with the thing with Blake Seven is that they didn't have the budget to be good, and so it wasn't. Like I think some of the ideas that I liked. Again, the deck of the Liberator was a different sort of bridge design. It was kind of somewhere between a Star Destroyer and the Next Generation bridge set. Because you had that kind of front lounge area
Yeah.
in the shoehorn design as well. So, and then the view screen up there, and
I thought it was better than the bridge design from Next Generation. I was never keen on the Next Generation bridge.
I thought they nailed the Enterprise D bridge in yesterday's Enterprise, and then they went back to normal. And
Yeah, yeah.
and then we didn't see it again until the ship crashed.
Yeah.
It was a lounger. It was a different ship. The Enterprise D wasn't very good. It lasted 7 years, 8 years, and then it crashed. It wasn't very good. The Excelsior class is still going.
Yeah. That was a great design. Though. I always liked the Excelsior design.
I don't.
Can't beat the old Connie.
Well, no. My favorite is still the original, the original Connie. Yeah, that's still my favorite. But you try arguing with people, and they're like, "Oh, the Enterprise D was an awesome ship." It was shit. It was shit.
Yeah, there were some angles of it. It just looked diabolical.
It's a hotel in space. It was literally a space hotel. It was big. It was comfy. Everything was made of cushions, even the walls. And it just crap. It kept breaking every week.
Yeah.
The holodeck tried killing people. The ship tried taking over itself. Its own computer developed its own consciousness and left. Its computer got up and went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how good that ship was.
On its ways, was it New Vertiform City?
Yeah, and then to top it all off, it takes a couple of hits from a Klingon bird of prey, has to separate, explode, and crash into a planet.
Yeah, I mean, what a... Yeah, it really did go out with a whimper, didn't it?
I mean, all of this, and it hits that one planet right there.
Yeah.
Like, come on, it wasn't a very good ship. It wasn't. I mean, yeah, I've seen better. I don't mind the Enterprise D, but it's never going to be on my favorites list. Probably still a bit better than the Enterprise E. Because
You think so? I do like the Enterprise E.
I don't like it from the side. It doesn't look good. It's got a weird hump in the back. And I don't like the fact that the impulse engines are trying to blow the nacelles off. I don't know why you need an impulse engine this big, and then on the Enterprise they're like this big.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Yeah.
They've got to go from impulse to warp just to slow down. Yeah, like Jesus Christ. It's oh no. I like the original design for the Enterprise E, but I didn't like what ended up in the movie. The original design I felt was nicer because it didn't have the impulse engines where they were. They weren't on the saucer at all. Where the shuttle bay is on the middle of the saucer, that was the impulse engine, and the rest of the saucer was smooth, and the actual shuttle bay was where it is on the ship anyway, where they are sand.
Yeah, where it should be.
And I preferred the original design for the nacelles, which didn't have the enclosed buzzard at the front. It was actually like an open-ended buzzard, much more like the TOS buzzard, but it was yeah. I don't know if I. There's an interesting design for. There's a bit more. That's a little bit more. Ooh, that looks like it could liberate things. I'll show that. Why not?
The
mean,
main question is what are we doing next week?
Well, we're going to be doing Blake 7.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, there's a bit of a. That's a bit of an upgrade.
It's a bulked up Liberator.
Yeah. A liberator.
It's still the same thing.
No, that's a. I mean, yeah, there's still too much of a human design element in there for me to go. Ooh, look at that! But it's a bit better.
Yeah, but as discussed earlier, perhaps those aliens are humanoids.
Yeah, but also.
Well, they are, aren't they? Because we see them in Series 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no. Isn't there an episode of Blake 7 whereby doesn't they get a missile, an intelligent missile trapped in the bay, and they try to disarm it? Is it that?
Possibly.
I know there's one. Yeah, they bring in. Well, they think it's like a missile. It turns out to be a sarcophagus or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and they try to activate it or and the guy wakes up.
Yeah, that's it. It's not Blake Seven's finest hour, that one.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm just trying to find a really good. Cause I've seen like some really awesome fan designs. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Oh, see, that's not bad. Ooh, that's a liberator. Holy hell! That does it for me. Let me just. Oh, see, if you want to know. Oh shit! Let me go back.
Well, that certainly has a more alien look to it.
Oh yes.
It looks very Romulan.
It's following the profiles of the Liberator. It's kept the basic geometry. It's just gone. Oh, let's make it good. Let's get rid of the Domestos bottles off it.
I like the Domestos bottles.
Yeah, that looks more like the defibrillator.
I think to me it looks like it's sort of like. Do you remember Sequest DSV?
Unfortunately.
Oh, vaguely, yeah.
It's got something of that design to it, but I like it. I like it. That's what I would want out of the Liberator. As an alien spaceship that looks like it's going to kick ass.
Don't even come close to the original. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I must admit, yeah, I'll take the original over that one. Like,
You can have the original. I don't want it.
Carwyn Morris making shit up since 2021.
I wouldn't want the. Oh no. Look at this. This is an interesting one. Just so you can see it. It's supposed to be a size comparison between the Liberator and the Enterprise, and the London.
Oh, I had no idea the Liberator was supposed to be that big.
Well, no, you wouldn't. Not with Domestos written on the side of each. No, yeah, no, it's supposed to be massive, but yeah. The intergalactic sex toy is quite a size.
Well, there you go. That very alien one you showed us.
Yes.
If you can do a scratch build of that and make it look that good, I'll accept it.
All right then. Next week. My God. Like yeah, somebody's built her a Lego because it. I mean, that's a step up, I suppose. It's I see. I want to like it. I do. I do want to like it, but I don't. To me, it looks like it's flying the wrong way. Because that looks like the front and that looks like the back, but it's not. It's the other way round. Again, these protrusions. No. No. See, even the Scorpio there looks. It looks a little bit better.
Well, I don't mind the Scorpio design. I mean, yeah, it's clearly influenced by the Star Destroyers, but
Yeah.
I thought it looked all right.
I mean, some of them from Blake's again. That says Liberator. That says I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. Oh, that's that. It looks like. I don't know. It just. To me, do you remember the film The Last Starfighter?
Yeah.
Great
Yeah,
film.
well, yeah, it is, and it just that's not as good as the Starfighter. It doesn't even have Death Bloom. I want to like. I do want to like it, but I like that. I like that a lot.
Looks Romulan.
I don't care.
I'm just saying, it looks Romulan. It looks a bit like the Romulan ship from.
I like that as well.
No.
I like that by comparison.
Well, what sort of segments there? It's no, not sold on that one.
I like that better than Fairy Liquid.
Yeah, see, that is the Liberator.
Well, it's something.
So, that's what we got to look forward to next week. Him moaning about the Liberator at every chance.
Oh, that's
No, not next week,
Yeah, so he won't be there next week.
No, it won't, will it?
No. There's a squared up design.
That's a big no from me. That one. Oh
Yeah,
dear.
It looks stern, mind. I'll give it that.
That looks like a load of traffic cones.
It's very prickly. And then look at the state on that one. Jesus, rubbish. Um. I want to find something. See, I like those. The guns.
Yeah, that was good design. Those.
Yeah, the just destructive ones. Yeah, I like those. I like them because they're different.
Yeah.
totally different to what we were used to. Ooh, the Firefly.
Yeah, it's a shame that they took such a backward step in Series 4 when they went back to, well, based on Solo's blaster.
Yeah. But yeah. Let's go back up because I wonder. We've got the what was that? I don't know. Oh, there's the bridge, obviously.
There's the bridge, yeah.
The entrance for well, people. I see it. That's the other thing I'm not really so keen on is this lit entrance. It kind of it looked like Ted Rogers would walk through there to present 3, 2, 1. It didn't need it. Because is that this? Yeah, that's another version of it. See, I thought it was interesting the fact that they had this sofa area down the front, and the toilets and everything up behind. It was a bit different. Oh, there's the
Oh, it's a Federation ship.
one-dimensional bottle by itself.
I think watching Blake 7 was a bad idea. I'm glad I suggested that.
I don't. I don't like the rocketry in the design. That's all. It's all it is. I think that we were already moved past this by the time they got to designing these things. Even Thunderbirds was past that, and it was just like, Thunderbird 3 is the most rockety looking. Oh, no, Thunderbird 1, yeah, 1 or 3.
Well, I always thought Thunderbird 3 looked like a rocket because it was a rocket.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Like, I don't think that they progressed further past that with Blitz. I
Yeah, the Federation ship I didn't think looked brilliant. I've seen far better.
Yeah. It's okay. It's not like there's anything sort of majorly wrong.
It's just quite dull.
Yeah.
There's nothing that really stands out about it.
Blake 7 reboot concept.
Ah,
Have you seen that?
Blake 7 reboots. These things have been cropping up for about 20 years, maybe even longer than that.
Yeah, but I'm looking at this concept for the Liberator and I'm thinking to myself, no, it can get worse.
What the hell is that? I had to do some real self-censoring there. That is awful.
Yeah, that's awful.
That looks like the head inside a tank from Curse of Peladon.
It's that Liberator is bits of the old Borg cube that blew up in Best of Both Worlds.
Well, I was just, is that before or after the deadly snot covered it? Yeah, that does not look good.
No, that is certainly 5H1T, that one.
Yeah, that's quite obscene. No, I don't like that at all. I like different, but that's trash.
Yeah. It's quite literally what it looked like.
It looked terrible, didn't it? I'd be more interested to see some other fan designs for the Liberator, just to see what else they got.
Improving on the original, though, that's going to be tough to do.
Well, they can always switch up from domestos to toilet deck. Throw some curves in there. Yeah, it's not. I'm always going to struggle with that. It's just, I accept the design. I accept that it is. I accept the people that made it. I accept that it's part of the show. Yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
That's as far as it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I can't even credit it with anything because it doesn't even look like. It's not like it influenced anything. It's not. It doesn't do anything that's broke. Like the Millennium Falcon was a different sort of shape, take on a flying saucer, and that kind of changed it a little bit. And I was like, okay. The Enterprise changed the shape of thing. You know, the TARDIS is a different. There's nothing really revolutionary about that. It's a bit crap.
Well, we will have to agree. We'll have to agree to differ.
I want to like it. I do want to like it. I
Then
just don't.
bloody like it.
I just don't. I can't. If the extruded I don't even know what to call them, nacelles were a little different, and the middle rocket part was different. I like the overall idea of the shape of the ship. I can accept the overall. You know, you got this triangular or Y shape of nacelles with a central piece with a bulb on the back. I can accept that. It's just that's another problem. It's just the fact that it just looks like it was built by NASA and rather cheaply. I wish Derek Mendings had done it. It's a shame. Oh, See, no. I just looked at a picture that somebody had done a sort of a quirky build that sort of looked something like the Liberator, but they've changed it a bit, and it still looks like no, nah. It sort of looks well, it looks like that.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, the original one's the best
Yeah.
one.
The centre's too bulbous, and the nacelles are not big enough.
yeah, and yeah. Like I get it. I understand the whole thing with the Liberator. It's just a bit cack.
But he wants to like it.
Yeah.
I've just been thinking of the last 15 minutes. If there's one thing that really comes across, yeah, you really sound like you want to like it. Yeah.
Well, like if you look at the design of it, like
Yeah.
if we do look at let me just open this up for a second. And this is my offering for this. So if I share this. Like this whole back end part here, I don't mind. I don't have a problem with this whole thing, right? It's this big bulby reactor thing, whatever the hell it is. I don't have a problem with it. The fact that we've got these protrusions up here and down here, these really cone things, yeah, that's fine. But the fact that it's just so rigid and it's gone from this really smooth shape with no edges to edge, pointy bits, and I'm like, no, that's not what this. If these were curved and this was all curved and smooth, probably yes. But there's two different design aesthetics going on here, and none of them fit. Like if this was all smooth and these were smooth and this was smooth and this was curved and rounded, and this was beziered and like it would probably fit me a lot better. But I don't all these angles. And it's just like it looks like you made out of bottles. That one even says "Daddy's" on the side because it's sauce. This looks like the plumbing section for a drain. Someone stuck some Cadbury's chocolate bars to the side. I, I, I can see.
Oh, these bloody youngsters.
I can see the design potential there. Like again, if this strut here was curved up instead of the straight bar, I'd be like, yeah, okay. And if this was all curved up as well, just knock all these corners off, so all these hard edges are gone. It'd be a massive improvement. In fact, this is a massive improvement because they've got all the texture detail all over it. The original studio model didn't look like that. Where's it too? I don't know. It's okay. Yeah,
Beautiful.
that's a recreation of the studio miniature, and yeah, it's shocking. I don't know. It doesn't say alien to me. That's pretty much it. It doesn't look like.
Going by the writing on the side, it's possibly Klingon. So I mean, you know,
That says Domestos. You've not really used Domestos until you've used it in the original Klingon.
If that looks like a Domestos bottle to you, I suggest that wherever you buy it from has been selling you a knockoff version.
Well, no, it's only bits of the Domestos bottles. There's the bottle cap on the back there. There's a bit of the spout down to the middle. That's a bit of Lynx. There's a butt plug.
Oh, you know, you'd know.
Well, you've got to try these things out. I mean, yeah, it's never gonna be one of my favorites. It's a shame, but yeah, it's never gonna be in my top 10. It's probably not even gonna be in my top 100. 150? Yeah, it'd probably be in my top 150 spaceships.
And I'd be hard pressed to find something that other than that would go at my number one.
Oh, Buck Rogers Thunderfighter. That's a sexy little ship. That is.
Ahead of Thunderbird 2.
Yeah. Yeah, the Thunderfighter. The Thunderfighter is a sexy beast of a ship. What else? What else can we put up in the top 10? Well, obviously, Constitution class Enterprise. Star Destroyer's got to be in there somewhere.
Well, I was going to suggest the TIE Interceptor or the TIE Bomber.
Ooh, Darth Vader's TIE Interceptor.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'd put a Millennium Falcon above them.
No, it depends. They both serve a different purpose. Like for crapness, the Millennium Falcon gets it because it's meant to be a little bit crap. So that's fine, and you know I do love the Falcon. You know she's like
Can do the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
yeah. The Thunder Road from the Explorers. That's another one. Good ship.
Not so familiar with that one. But the original Vipers from Battlestar Galactica.
Yes. Well, and the reboot. They're both the Mark 1 and the Mark 2. Don't like the Mark 7 though. But yeah, no, the original Vipers, yes. What else is there? Shuttle Tiderium.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is a good design. That.
Yeah, I like that. What else? What else? Obviously the TARDIS. That's bound to be in there. Ooh, Hyperion 3 from Terror of the Vervoids. That's going to be in there.
Oh, it's been a little while since I saw that. I do remember thinking it did look quite good.
It's not a bad look. It's supposed to look like an ocean liner. It's sort of like a space liner. That's quite a good one. What else we got?
We go back to Star Wars. What about a B-wing fighter? Just because it looks so different.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, the B wing, the Y wing, the snow speeders.
Cloud City vehicles.
Oh,
They were certainly
okay.
distinctive. I
Yeah.
don't know
Yeah.
about good.
The
No,
two-man thing.
Yeah, they look like pleasure eggs.
Again,
Their
you
butt
know,
plugs and now pleasure eggs. Yeah. We're getting a bit of an insight here.
yeah, I'm glad when you're sharing your browser, your search history don't come up.
Klingon bird of prey.
Yes. Yeah.
Excellent design. The ship from Flight of the Navigator.
The
Chrome
big
one.
oyster shell thing.
Yeah, the change shape into the speeder. That's a good one. What else we got? Other science fiction spaceships. Starbug.
Well, Red Dwarf itself,
Yeah, Red Dwarf. Yeah.
Blue Midget.
Which I'm gonna change that. If you're gonna say Blue Midget, I'm gonna say the original Blue Midget over the bloody stupid one with the runny legs.
yeah, they're the original one.
Yeah, that's right. The Trojan. I like the Trojan from Red Dwarf.
Space 1999 Eagles.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a
yes, oh,
great
yes.
design.
definitely.
The Rocinante from The Expanse.
Nah,
Yeah, I quite like that ship.
it's crap.
Or whatever.
I'm not familiar with that one, so I couldn't say.
It looks like a really good ship, but then they squared it all up, and then it doesn't. It's Rocinante. It's
I think it's the interior I like on that though. I like the way that the pilot's area is up above where all the guns and that are. You know, where the crew stations are. But it's a good design for what it is. It's meant to be a ship that can only go so fast. You know, you don't do light speed or anything like that.
what the hell have I got here? Yeah, it's I mean, people have made lots of copies of it out of Lego. I mean, that fits. I mean, it's it looks like it was made of Lego. There you go.
I like it because it looks like what it is, a beaten up ship. And it's only really a shuttle because it comes off a massive Mars dreadnought ship. So
I've got to be honest with you. When I first saw the show, I personally, when I started watching, it was like, this is Blake 7.
yeah, it is. It's got a very Blake 7 feel to it to start with.
And it was just like, I'm pretty sure they're going to get sued. And I thought to myself, if they discover this super advanced spaceship, so this warship, this is over. And guess what they discover? The Rocinante. I mean, it was just, as soon as I saw it, I was like, holy crap. Well, you had fun, show, but now you're going to face criminal court.
But they didn't because
No.
The thing with that program is every series is different. I mean, the first series is almost a film noir.
But it's I don't know. I watched the first. I think I watched the first series and like the maybe the second. I didn't see the third.
Yeah, it
So
kind of changes tack after the end of the second series. Becomes more out and out sci-fi with great big wormhole things opening up and what have you,
I
and
know
not
that
in.
I seen like aliens attacking the moon or something. It was I don't know. I think that's what was going on. I'm not entirely sure. Um, so yeah, what are other spaceships? Great spaceships. Nostromo from Alien. That's another good one. Narcissus, also from Alien. Um,
Narcissus, I thought looked good. It wasn't so struck on a Nostromo.
I don't mind the overall design of the Nostromo. I don't mean the refinery. I just mean the
No,
actual
no.
the tow ship.
Mm.
I mean, the Sulaco in Aliens just looks like a great big pulse rifle.
Yeah, it's supposed to look like a flying gun, isn't it? This,
Yeah,
the dropship was quite nice, mind. Not very sophisticated. Most of the ragtag fleet from Battlestar Galactica, from the original.
Some were certainly distinctive.
Cylon ships. I like the Cylons.
I like the
Fly-
Cylon base ships. They're very simple, but I thought they looked good.
Yeah, I like the flying pasties as well. They were nice. And the fuel ships as well. So I didn't mind that. It was even good when Lloyd Bridges shows up, and that was creepy. When him and Cassiopeia were getting it on, it was just like that. I feel uncomfortable watching. Like it's not. You shouldn't feel like you should be watching him and going, yeah, he's too old for that.
Yeah.
Just, like, that was really unpleasant. Yeah. So,
and of course
anyway,
there's the classic Python from the game Elite Dangerous as well. Now that is a ship.
yeah. Oh yeah, Elite Dangerous. Yeah. I don't really think about games that much, to be honest. We got to be overlooking some like major sci-fi ship.
Yeah, I have a feeling we are.
Not the Orient Express. I can tell you that much.
No. I mean, the ship from Event Horizon was quite nice. It was okay. It was all right. There was nothing new. Come on, there's got to be some. The C-57D from Forbidden Planet. I know it was just a flying saucer. It's not the point. It's a classic flying saucer. Can you think of any other spaceships?
Let's have a look. Well, there's Slave One from Star Wars.
Yeah. The Limpet. Yeah.
I was never really struck on that. It always looked like a snail to me.
Yeah. Think. Romulan Warbird.
I was
Warbird.
just thinking, Romulan Warbird. I mean, even though a lot of people don't really rate the film, I can't remember the name of the ship now, but it's Star Trek Nemesis. That huge bloody great thing.
Oh yes. What the hell is it called? Oh, it all unfurls, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I can't for the life of me remember the name of the thing.
Yeah.
The big motherships from V were quite impressive for what they were.
I thought they looked like giant air fresheners. Yeah, I wasn't all that struck on them.
Well, I mean, they could have been made from giant air fresheners.
yeah. Superman's ship from Superman the movie.
That's just a conker.
Yeah. It's a prickly cone.
I think we've already covered all the best ones, really. I mean, most of the best ones are from Star Wars and Star Trek, aren't they? Because they had the money in the movies.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
I mean, as good as the ones from Star Wars and that were, Eagle Transporters from Space 1999, I think beat them.
Oh, I didn't say I preferred them. I just meant there was a lot to choose from. They're probably the best made and the best looking models is the movie ones.
Yeah, but there's bound to be like. I'm just out of curiosity. I'm just gonna have a quick scan. See if there's any obvious ones there.
Fireball XL5.
It's a rocket.
Yeah, I'm trying to actually remember it. It's been years since I last saw it.
Big orange rocket.
Was it orange? I know Thunderbird 3 was orange. I don't know because I always thought wasn't Fireball
Well, wasn't it
XL5 in
silver?
black and white. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
always
pretty sure it was
assumed
silvery.
it was like a chrome silver colour.
I thought it was combination of the two. It was, yeah, it was silver and orange. I mean, they could pass it off as red, I suppose, but it looks orange to me.
I don't think I've ever seen a colour photo of it. So, yeah, to me it was always grey.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Big
yeah,
rocket.
I'll skip that from from the possibilities. It does look quite generic.
Not seeing anything that stands out really. I'm looking at
Well, the derelict ship from Alien was quite novel looking.
yeah. That was unusual. I like that. Until they made it fly in bloody Prometheus.
Oh dear, yeah.
Well, you got the big main vessel from the black hole as well. That's quite an intricate ship.
It is.
Oh,
It's
the
very
Cygnus.
layered. Yeah. It's all pipe work, that isn't it?
Yeah, I always thought it looked unfinished.
Good photo for the panels on it.
Yeah.
It lit up very nice though. It looked pretty.
The only design I thought that was any good in the black hole, the Maximilian robot, looked great. Totally impractical, but it did
Yeah.
look good.
Yeah.
I mean, was there ever going to be much use for it having those giant spinning blades?
Cutting grass.
Yeah, well, there you go. That was his main function. Eh?
That's all he could do. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot. Ooh, I know what I like. Yeah, the Star Furies from Babylon 5.
Oh yeah,
fighters.
yeah. And the runabouts and the USS Defiant from Deep Space Nine. Talking of space station programs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was not so struck on the Defiant. The runabouts were okay, but
Well,
yeah,
Defiant was where it was shaped for what it was, weren't it? An out and
So-
out attack ship.
The runabouts never reached the potential because they were always meant to come apart. And you never saw it.
They did come apart frequently, which is why they went through so many on Deep Space Nine. They had to get a new one in every other episode.
They weren't meant to do that though. I mean, they were capable of doing that, but that was just colliding with a planet. But they were meant to have the warp nacelles and the bar and the central bar on the top. they were meant to detach as a sled, and then the back part of the runabout was supposed to come off, and you had the front cockpit section then, which was its own separate section. So it was all meant to sort of break apart, and they never showed it, which was a shame. Yeah, I think I think we've gone through. Oh, Firefly! I like Firefly. Serenity.
That's not bad. It's a bit like Starbug, but yeah, it's not bad.
It's meant to be a bit of a wrecked ship. It's meant to be a bit, they found it in a scrapyard and they've been fixing it up. So it characteristically is meant to be a bit crap.
So another Scorpio.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it's that's how they find it, and Kaylee's been sort of fixing it up, and it's yeah, the Serenity is quite a nice little ship. In comparable sizes, similar sort of length to the Millennium Falcon. So not what the hell? That's Space Battlefleet Gothic. Oh my word. That up in a new tab. Oh, there has to be a bigger version of that. Yeah, go on. It's like a list of all these spaceships and. Oh, bloody Pinterest.
Yeah, don't need none of that.
I bloody hate Pinterest. I can piss off.
I guess no arguments from me.
Oh, mate.
Pinterest is a hateful site.
Now then, what do we got here? Let me just share this. There's some interesting.
One from every food group there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some weird stuff in amongst all that lot.
I'm not seeing anything really familiar. I think that's the ship from Independence Day.
Is that thing, the big thing below it, is that the probe from Star Trek 4?
No. I thought that originally, but it's not. It's got this weird cut out in the middle.
Yeah, a bit in the middle, yeah.
Yeah. But that's the ship from Independence Day. That looks like, I don't know. No, that's not. I was going to say that's from 2001, but it's not.
That's what I thought, the 2001.
Got things protruding from it, which.
There's a lot there that I don't recognise at all.
I mean, I think some of these are from Space Battlefleet Gothic.
I mean, that big brown one in the middle looks like a Cardassian ship, but it's probably far too big to be one of them.
But that's the Romulan ship from Star Trek 09, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Because there's a Borg cube there.
Yeah.
There's Doomsday Machine. That's a Kazon ship. Well, this isn't the scale because that's clearly wrong.
Yeah, there's no way a Kazon ship is bigger than the Doomsday Machine.
Or a Borg cube.
No, yeah.
Like I just want to zoom in a little bit because that appears to be the Defiant there. So that's way out of scale because the Defiant is nowhere near going to be. Like, if that was the Defiant, the Borg cube would be this.
Yeah.
Right, so it's not to scale then.
Well, it's supposed to be by the looks of it, but it's not. What else we got down here? Not recognizing any of those. Not recognizing any of those. Now that does look familiar, but I can't place it.
I'm not sure. It's too small to make out.
It's yeah.
That's not the ship from 2010, is it?
No, I don't think so.
That's an underrated film.
There's Atlantis from Stargate Atlantis. Yeah, 2010 is an underrated film. Big time. There's one of the smaller ships. Oh, it's a Dalek ship there. There's no way a Dalek ship is bigger than a ball cube.
Yeah, they definitely got the scale all wrong here.
With your little dot on the screen with Death Star.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that looks like a Star Destroyer over there. That's not the Executor, though. There's the Super Star Destroyer underneath that.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, the regular Star Destroyer just above it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that supposed to be either the Dreadnought or Snoke's ship from The Last Jedi?
Oh, you have no idea. It could be.
That
Yeah.
instantly makes it rubbish.
Yeah.
A Super Duper Star Destroyer.
What's that thing underneath here? You got the mouse.
It's
But
black.
yeah, it looks like a giant machete or something. Yeah.
I have no idea. Again, I would assume that most of these here are from Battlefleet Gothic. So that's where I assume a lot of this stuff comes from.
I am going to have to chip off in a minute.
That's no problem. We'll be going now soon. There's the first Federation ship from the Corbomite maneuver.
All right, I just thought that was the sun. I was thinking the scale's well out there.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. Seems like they put another Star Destroyer in there. I think
Yeah.
that's Snoke's ship.
Yeah, actually, I think you might be right there.
What's that right at the top? Circular looking thing. Is that a Death Star?
This.
I thought that was the thing from V, one of the V motherships.
Well, I thought they were flatter than that. Well, yeah, it could be.
Well, there's something wrong there because that appears to be one of the. This appears to be two Enterprises for that. Looks like there's one there and there's one underneath there. Rom, come off it. Romulan Warbird. Bloody Enterprise. Get out of town.
Yeah.
Those things are sodding huge. There's no way in hell. These are come on, Romulan Warbird, bloody Doomsday Machine. Give over.
Was that a Death Star? Right, move. Yeah, there.
Borg Sphere.
Oh, okay. Well,
Which is
the
supposed
Borg
to fit
Sphere.
inside this.
Yeah, that's supposed to be quite small. Yeah.
Nonsense. No, I'm not seeing anything here that looks right.
No, I'm seeing a lot of stuff there that I think that looks awful.
Yeah, like what's that giant flea all about?
That thing there,
Yeah.
I don't know. Farscape's not on here.
Well, going with a scale, it could be a speck somewhere, couldn't it?
I suppose, yeah. I have no idea what the hell that's supposed to be. Oh, that's Spaceball 1. That is Spaceball 1.
Have they got the Prometheus and its various offshoots from the SG-1 and Atlantis series?
That may be over here somewhere.
Because I know you said Atlantis was on there.
Yeah, Atlantis is on. Yeah, Atlantis is there. So I'm guessing Prometheus would be around here somewhere, maybe.
Not to be confused with the film
There's
of the same
Battlestar
name.
Galactica. Come on. What the hell are they doing? There's Battlestar Galactica.
So Battlestar Galactica was smaller than the Romulan Warbird, eh? Who'd have thought it?
Well, at this
Cylon
point, it's
spaceship
smaller than
as
a
well.
bloody X-wing. It's smaller than the Enterprise. I mean, I don't know. There's some nonsense on here. No, that because I don't know what that is. Looks like it looks like what's his name's base from bloody Bond.
We'll zoom in a bit on it.
I can't.
Yeah, but you're full buyer. Right,
Yeah.
okay.
But it looks like the underwater base from
Oh, Atlantis from
Atlantis, yeah,
Spy Love Me.
yeah. That's what it looks like, but I don't know.
It looks like there's a fleet carrier from Elite Dangerous on there.
It's all sorts of shit all over the place. They stuck it all together. They're going, I think this is the scale, and I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
That's laughable. That is laughable. So some of these ships are insanely big. Like I know the ship from Independence Day is meant to be. Oh my god, they've got a pencil bloody red dwarf.
Yeah, we don't count that one.
No, we don't.
Oh, I think the saucer underneath that red dwarf there, yeah, I think that is the one from V.
Yes, that looks an awful lot like the mothership.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's the mothership. That's the daddy ship.
Yeah.
Oh dear, yeah, there's some messes on there. I don't know. Somebody, what the hell are these supposed to be?
Well, I have a horrible feeling it looks a bit like the Cylon base ships from the new Battlestar Galactica
No, I don't know.
from top down.
No.
Okay, I'm not sorry to be wrong, 'cause I mean I don't like the design of them in the
It's
first
smoother.
place, but this is a mess.
No, that's supposed to be Lex, isn't it? This thing,
Yeah, I think it is. Not one of my favourite ship designs.
No. I'm missing Andromeda. Well, I'm not missing Andromeda, but it's not on yet. That one looks familiar, but I can't place it. That purpley one. There we are. Anyway, I'm going to end out there. Come on, we got 3 hours and 50 minutes. I think we can call it
It's
quits.
not bad for a 2-episode stream.
Yeah.
So yeah, next week we'll do Blake 7. We'll do the first episode of Blake 7. That'll be it. Yeah, I think we'll have a good one next week. We can talk about the Domestos bottles and well, it'll be the London
Well,
next week, won't it?
Yeah. No Liberator next week.
Oh.
Still a bloody good theme tune to get through as well.
Da, 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 da. I think what I like with the Blake 7 as well, particularly with season 1 with the opening theme tune, is that it kind of goes through his torture, and it's an eye opener for a 1970s show.
Oh yeah.
It's a big eye opener. So we can have a lot of fun next week. It's been good, then. We've drifted away from Doctor Who, but it doesn't matter. We'll have a bit more fun. We shall see you next week for more stuff, but it'll be Blake 7 next week, The Way Home, I think, is it?
Yeah,
Isn't that the first episode?
I believe it
way
is.
back.
Oh, The Way Back. Yeah, it is, yeah. Yeah. Right, so have a good one and see you next week. Take care.
See you later.